the morning light. Already told you I do not play. I beat that ass every single day. I whoop that ass up and down the block. Spank that ass till they call the cops.
That's right. Strategy members number one in the chat. Welcome to the motherfucking News Underground. That was an AI rendition of a song called I'm Still
whooping.
I'm still
All
whooping
throughout the
that
town.
ass.
Gonna let them know I don't fuck around.
That's right. Might as well be the motherfucking theme to the stream. This is the News Underground, the one motherfucking stream on Twitch that actually takes the world seriously. Is not trying to make a bunch of fucking money. Actually got something to say, and I got principles. I stand by them. Yeah. You fucking know it, Leon. You found the home of an ass whooping. Let me tell you something. To the left. If you don't think you're gonna have to stand on your 2 feet and defend your fucking principles and liberty, you got another thing coming, man. Shit's coming right to your doorstep. And that's what I'm here to talk about. So big props to this hard archive AI crazy shit. It's really wild. Because, you can still tell it's AI for the moment. This is like ChatGPT 3.4 or something. It's getting better and better and better. There's a lot of cynics right now that are like, "Oh, AI isn't going to blow up. AI isn't going to do all that. It's limited technology. It's limited technology." Okay, well, Moore's law has yet to be defeated. And if you just Wikipedia Moore's law. So, I think we might have a Moore's Law situation with AI. Welcome back in this motherfucker. Honda Monkey Strategy member, Woke Patriot. And I apologize, Woke Patriot. I should not have said that in the Discord. I'm sorry. But it's just like, we gotta win. We gotta win some of these. And there is a difference between a optic victory, and a moral victory. With that said, do love to see Piers Morgan get his head caved in. Might have to do another episode of everyone's favorite new segment. See, do I still have it here? Where is it? Where'd I put it? Theater, game show. Where did I put it? Talk show. Oh wait, was it just the thing? The BS update. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But was it? I don't know. Where? How did I do this? How did I do it? Was it over here in US? My producer, Clara, screwed this all up. Clara, that's an old meme. Huh, I guess I just had an icon. Yeah, I think I just had the BS update icon. Oh yeah, here it is, BS Showdown. Here it is. Got it, folks. But yeah, we might have to do another Piers Morgan BS Showdown. Some Coogan suit in this bitch. Welcome back, Chem Goblin. Lenny from south of Boston. Lenny is, of course, the number one financial contributor to the stream, and does a rip-roaring version of his own show. All right, so let's quit wasting time. This is the News Underground. I talk about how we get right to the news, and then I talk about stupid bullshit. So we got some more. Another ship crashing into the damn barge. Why is this shit happening? More barge bullshit. Do we need a new thing after the AI to break Moore's law again, or rather keep up with it? I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I don't know. Because the cynics are right in that, it's not, the fantasy of firing your programmers and HR people and all the paper pushers and replacing them with these scripts with one human at the top is not there. It's not even close. Not even close. One problem with these AI models is that they keep lying. They keep doing like a right-wing gaslighting thing where they just completely make some shit up. All right. Enough talking about AI. We'll do another AI segment soon. But no, we got another barge, this time in Galveston, crashing in to another bridge, and spilling oil everywhere. And you're going to love this one because the man on the street interview with this guy is classic. An absolute legend is in this video. So pay attention here. This is going to be good. It's only 1 minute long.
A bridge in Galveston, Texas is closed after a barge collided with it on Wednesday. The city says there are no reported injuries, and local, state, and federal officials are responding to the incident. According to authorities, there has been an oil spill, and the U.S. Coast Guard is responding to determine the extent of it and to get the cleanup process started. The bridge will remain closed until it's deemed safe.
Basically, when we came out, the barge had, crashed already. This was going on already, but yeah, it was just a whole stop. Everybody stopped. But and I guess, I don't know if there was oil in the water, but I don't know what was the way, but it was a long way.
What are officials telling you on the other side that you guys are now able to come across?
At 20 miles an hour, widely spaced. So everybody's clearing. Unless it's real big, I guess you can't get off.
Are you relieved?
Yeah. Best day of my life.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Let's keep these barges, from running into bridges. I didn't smell any petroleum or anything like that, and I was right next to it.
But that's where the Coast Guard is now.
They're saying? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, is any concern about, Galveston water?
I'm not worried about it, but, I don't know much about water systems, so...
The realest motherfucker today, dude. You get the realest award right there, dude. This guy rules. John Krager, dude, you kick ass. One more time, I want to hear it. Look, I'll turn up the volume just a little bit more so you can hear it more clearly. What the questions she's asking him.
At 20 miles an hour, widely spaced, so everybody's clearing. Unless it's real big, I guess you can't get off.
Are you relieved?
Yeah.
Are you relieved? Yeah.
Best day of my life.
Yeah. Best day of my life.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Let's keep these barges, from running into bridges.
Let's do something about this apparently endemic issue now of fucking barges crashing into our bridges. Can this man be our president, please? Can John take the reins? I'm loving the manifesto, John. I want more.
Let's keep these barges, from running into bridges. I didn't smell any petroleum or anything like that, and I was right next to it.
But that's where the
This guy ruled.
They're saying? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, is any concern about, Galveston water?
I'm not worried about it, but, I don't know much about water systems, so.
I don't fucking know, man. See, that's the sign of a good leader, right? It's like, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad to me, but I don't know anything about water systems. That's the sign of a good leader. I don't know. We got a guy for that, right? There's a guy for that. I hope. All right. We got to keep her moving here. Because it's just crazy news. In the span of, I wasn't able to stream, or was I able to stream yesterday? It was either I had to skip yesterday or something like that. No, I skipped yesterday. I had to skip Thursday, yeah, because of family stuff. But no, Brazen Raid, just in the span of 48 hours, what I was trying to say is that so much amazing news can be happening. Brazen Raid, new vid shows horror of drug boss The Fly's deadly jailbreak as French launch Operation Sparrowhawk to hunt the fugitive. And no, this is not a movie script. This is legitimate. They do some, they do some shit right out of a movie, right? You totally would see this scene Where's the video? I thought this article had the video. It's just a series of pictures. You're fucking with me. Where's the fucking video, dude? What? Oh my god. Well, Davey had the. Oh, here it is. Okay, never mind. Sounds ominous. The Fly. Yeah. So thankfully, I mean, you don't really get to see how nasty this is because the security footage is kind of, you know, esh. Yeah, but this is right out of GTA. This is a GTA mission. This is totally something Trevor would be doing. You know, or Michael or the other ones, right? The other two guys. I remember Trevor the most. But no, blocks these two vans, shooting it up. I mean, you can't really see the carnage that's being unleashed here, but just like unloading, you know, murder happening. You know, you can't really see any of the details, which is why I'm able to show it here. But kind of really amateur hour though, really taking their time. They got all the time in the world over here, several minutes, making mistakes, you know, running around like a chicken with their head cut off here. But you know, their brutality, they were able to make up for whatever inefficiencies they had in planning or execution here with their brutality and their brazenness. And the other thing I'd like to mention, the car, this is just normal day, huh? In France? Is this what is this? Hello? There's literally a shootout happening. It's literally like some you know, John Wick shit. He's like, well, you know, I gotta make my shift. Man, they really got us. Would I stop? Hell yeah, I'd stop. Maybe not. That's actually a good idea. Maybe get the fuck out of there. Maybe I wouldn't stop. Yeah, they're trying to get the hell out of there, but no, they keep coming, dude. It's just another day at the office, dog. They don't know what's going on. That's why they think it's just, you know, whatever, some kind of traffic mix up, whatever. I'm just gonna, you know, go about my day. They only really see like the true extent, like once they pass this barrier. Damn, yeah. So they're doing this shit. They're throwing fire bombs. And there's yeah. So okay, there's some other footage here we get. You know, so this is, you know, one vehicle that did stop. But no, it really just shows how brazen it is. The people just going by like it's just another thing. Like they just totally did not even, you know, it's not that they're used to violence, it's that they're so used to peace. Oh, look, performance art. Oh, he's wacky Frenchman. These goddamn mimes really kicking their game up. I'm gonna turn the volume here down. Yeah, chem goblin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so apparently, you know, I think we got, you know, some dead bodies, or, you know, I think these are paramedics that are, yeah. Like I said, you know, the security footage doesn't really do it justice. But they shot that motherfucker up like mercilessly, gangland style, you know. Pretty wild shit. So that's just, you know, shit's still happening, you know. And that's what I've kind of noticed about the trend of violence in the Western world, you know, is that things are technically much more peaceful than they've ever been. But when violence does happen, it's explosive and extreme, and, you know, generally fatal. What the hell is this? Jesus, what is this? We're just gonna... Did we just do disaster porn the entire stream? Is this another Boeing? Oh shit! Oh shit, dude! Yo, that's crazy. Okay, I can't just turn away from that. Come on, we got to show this. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know. It's probably a Boeing, isn't it? I don't. There's no title to this video. I don't even. This is just. It's literally TMZ, but news. Oh, the whole fucking thing comes off. Oh, well, those people are safe at least. Guarantee you that's a Boeing. I am frightened to get into those planes. Thankfully I don't have any flights this year, but I will have to go to Hawaii next year to visit my mother. I do not, and it's always a Boeing. I'm sure it is. Do not want to get in one of those planes, man. All right, so moving on here. Pretty wild footage. Hope you enjoyed that. Thought start the stream off with a bit of a bang, and we do have a little surprise at the end of this world news segment. Another crazy bit of footage, but we actually have a big shakeup with the Japanese government. Right? That's how you do it? I hope that's correct. Yeah, right? My imposter syndrome and my spelling, they fight each other so bad I forget how to spell basic words. Is Japan's one-party system finally coming to an end? So yeah, so there's a big shakeup politically in Japan here. And, you know, I'm not sure what this means for the future of Japan, you know, because it's, you know, the whole situation in Japan is, you know, I really wish I'm going to miss my opportunity to visit Japan during this era. And I feel like by the time I actually get over there and visit, the prices are going to be skyrocketing like everything else. You know, their economic experiment of not raising prices, but also not raising wages has failed. But by the time I get my ass over there, everything's going to be, you know, 3 times expensive. And this is all, it's pure selfishness. That's my only concern.
This video was brought to you by Nebula. Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party have been in power almost continuously since its inception in 1955, having only been out of power for a handful of years from 1993 to 1994 and 2009 to 2012. But the party looks to be in an increasingly difficult position, as a party that just lost 3 by-elections in one day, has a deeply unpopular prime minister, is slipping in the polls, and is still reeling from a major scandal while facing a weak economy. So, as we'll answer in this video, why are things going so badly for the LDP? Is Japan really gearing up to boot out its long-dominant conservative government? And could the fragmented opposition really break up the LDP's dominance? Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell.
No, these guys are great. I show a lot of their clips. You know, I know their editing and style is a little annoying, but you know, quite frankly, I don't see too many channels actually talking about this more esoteric world news stuff and really kind of contextualizing it for a Western audience. I don't really think there's any channel that does it as better. That does it as good as this. I'm totally in a fog today. I apologize.
To stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. So, let's start by taking a look at the LDP's recent by-election losses. There were 3 by-elections to Japan's House of Representatives on April 28th. One in Nagasaki, one in Tokyo, and one in Shimane. All 3 having been former LDP seats. Now, the first 2 were triggered following the resignation of 2 LDP lawmakers.
I knew it, so thank you, Strategy. I'll take your word for it. Strategy's great at looking information up. Even has the patience to look through, like, government documents and shit like that. I don't have the fucking patience to read that shit. But no, so I'll take Strategy's word for it is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, he confirms it's a Boeing B737 from Alaska Airlines. Happened last year. Thank you so much. It's happening all at once. You know, this is you know, endemic, and this is systemic, and we need, you know, we got to shut this whole thing down basically, and we need to do like a deep review of every Boeing plane that is used by every commercial airline. You know what I mean? Like, we need a multi-billion-dollar audit of every Boeing airplane still being flown. That's what we need. This is a full-blown crisis. Okay? We are rolling the fucking dice with our lives, and people have already died. Okay? We were damn lucky with that panel that popped off. But we had 2 planes that crashed because of a stupid firmware error that forced the yoke of the plane to go straight down. So, you know, I'm a little kind of sick and tired of the, and it's not from you guys in the chat, but just in general, you know, where's Mika Brzezinski on this one? Where's fucking Morning Joe? And they have talked about it, but it's just like a silly little thing. No, man, it should be like Boeing Watch every single day. What, you don't have 5 minutes for Willie to get in front of a fucking TV and do a Boeing update? They suck so much, but why do so many people watch them? Okay, back to Japan. It's okay.
Implicated in the
Japan!
major slush fund scandal that we'll come to later. Given this context, the LDP decided not to field candidates in these two seats, and as such, they were won by the main opposition Constitutional Democratic Party, or CDP. Instead, the LDP decided to go all in on the Shimane by-election, triggered by the death of a senior LDP lawmaker, but they also lost there pretty heavily to the CDP. Now, this is a big deal because Shimane is known as a conservative stronghold, and the seat has been held by the LDP since the current electoral system was implemented in 1996, making the loss all the more damaging.
I will never tire of the Japanese government rituals, the begging for forgiveness, the performative bowing and things like that. It really is something else, man. It really is something. It's that island culture. You go in these island cultures and things get weird. Things get super weird.
System was implemented in 1996, making the loss all the more damaging for the LDP. And to be honest, these three losses are just the latest in a series of setbacks for Japan's LDP government, led by Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The LDP's popularity had already been dented following the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in mid-2022, an event which shined a spotlight on the political influence of the Unification Church on the LDP. Then, since November last year, the LDP has been mired in a slush fund scandal that has even further damaged the party. To briefly sum up the scandal, leading LDP party factions had for some time been failing to report hundreds of millions of yen's worth of party funds, and instead put the money into slush funds used to give financial kickbacks to lawmakers. Now, several factions, including the largest, the Abe faction, were implicated.
So, I mean, it's really quite scandalous what he's talking about, of course, and I think it's hilarious that they dress like bankers from, like, literally Monopoly-style bankers. Like, look at this outfit. What is this outfit, dog? What are you, like... Literally the last American to wear this outfit was Rockefeller himself. So I find this hilarious. But look at how they vote with these little pieces of wood.
Used to give financial kickbacks to lawmakers. Now, several factions, including the largest, the Abe faction, were implicated, and the scandal hasn't gone away since, as it's forced the dissolution of several factions, the resignation or sacking of several cabinet members, high-profile ethics hearings, and the criminal indictment of several LDP lawmakers.
Yeah.
This scandal, set against the backdrop of a troubled economy, which we recently made a video about, has unsurprisingly...
It's not about race, it's not about culture, it's about it's about humanity, it's that classic edict, it'll come to me. Hold on.
Been bad news for Kishida, who vowed to deliver political reform and rebuild trust with voters. In fact, in one recent poll, 80% of respondents said that they disapproved of Kishida's handling of the scandal, while only 13% indicated approval. At the same time, overall approval for his government, according to most polls, sits at the mid-20s, while disapproval sits close to 70%.
I was up until 4 o'clock with the kid, okay? All right? My brain's fucking crazy. But, power corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That was the phrase I was looking for.
The LDP itself has slid considerably in party identification polls too, falling from about 35% at the beginning of 2023 to averaging 25% now.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the proportion of voters say that they don't identify with any particular party has increased to more than 40%.
Wow.
So that raises the big question. Could the LDP really fall from power, giving Japan a non-LDP government for only the third time in almost 70 years? To answer that question, we need to talk about Japan's opposition parties, which have long struggled to break the LDP's dominance. As you can see from the party identification polling graph, there are quite a few opposition parties, none of which come particularly close to the LDP, even after its decline in the polls. Though it's the center-left CDP that tops the opposition pack. Now, if the CDP is to lead the next government, it will have to overcome a number of challenges. The main one being winning over those voters, now the largest group, who identify as independent or non-affiliated.
So that's so interesting because that's a very similar strategy to what, the left should be following, the neoliberals should be following here in the United States. There's millions, tens of millions of basically completely disengaged people who basically need to be not inspired, but they need to have confidence that what you're promising them is going to happen. And you also need to promise something. Okay. Right now, the prevailing strategy in the United States is trying to convert moderate Republicans, into Democrats by appearing and pushing the party further to the right. A strategy that, has utterly failed after it was like tripled down during the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, Joe Biden doesn't seem to be changing a goddamn thing about it. I mean, there's a few slam dunks, the legalization of marijuana, right? The timing of that couldn't be more appropriate. Obviously, he had that in his pocket for the election. Whatever. We'll get back to it here. But I thought this was interesting that, this a very similar dynamic where people have become incredibly cynical about politics. They're checked out. And the party that is, in the lead or running things doesn't want to make a lot of promises. Something we're seeing right now with the Labour Party in the UK, don't really want to make a lot of concrete promises because they feel like, well, we don't really need to. And then, we don't need to be beholden to a manifesto that we weren't never really going to fulfill. So why even make that promise? It's like a strategy of setting expectations, because people are in a rock and a hard place. What happens, though, is that this unaffiliated group, like what we're seeing in the United States, becomes so overwhelmingly large that the politics becomes incredibly razor thin, allowing for extremists to wildly influence, as we've seen with Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of the goddamn ultra MAGAs that are in place, Matt Gaetz and the rest. They have a undue influence because the margins are so razor thin because the voter pool is so thin. Right? Rightfully so. Can you really blame people? I mean, we should shame them and remind them that we need them to participate. But honestly, can you really blame them for checking out and just, getting, addicted to pornography and other distractions instead of engaging in any kind of way with their civic responsibilities? Because it's so fucking pointless. It feels pointless. It certainly does.
And there are a number of signs that the CDP is actually doing well in this regard, as exit polls from the recent by-elections show that it was the CDP who won the most support from independent voters in all 3 seats. Now, it's early days, but party identification poll numbers are also ticking up for the CDP, with the party recently surpassing 10%, while the proportion of those identifying as independent or non-affiliated has dropped somewhat. Perhaps more worrying for the LDP, though, is that recent polling suggests that more than 50% not only expect a change in government, but want a change in government come the next election. But that's not the only issue. Another challenge facing the opposition parties is that there's a lot of them. And per Japan's electoral system, just over 60% of the seats in the House of Representatives are single-member districts that use first past the post. Meaning that the ruling LDP benefits from the fact that the anti-government...
and once again, what we see, the first past the post being a major, major hurdle for democracies. It really does need to be annihilated. It definitely needs to be talked about. I think, getting rid of first past the post should be the first kind of reform done to the electoral college system in the United States, for example. But it's interesting to see how it's hindering democracy in Japan as well.
Past the post. Meaning that the ruling LDP benefits from the fact that the anti-government vote is split across multiple parties fighting for any given seat. Back in 2009,
voting.
when the LDP were defeated in a historic election, opposition vote splitting wasn't as much of an issue, as the then Democratic Party of Japan was viewed as the only viable opposition party. But things are different now. There are 3 opposition parties currently with double-digit seats, the largest being the CDP, then the broadly right-wing Nippon Ishin no Kai, and finally the Japanese Communist Party. So if the opposition do want to unseat the LDP, then one potential path to victory is to come up with some sort of electoral agreement. Not necessarily an alliance or a coalition, but perhaps just a deal that will see the opposition parties agree to stand or not stand candidates in certain seats to concentrate anti-government votes on single opposition candidates. Now, this kind of deal played a role back in 2009 too, as the Japanese Communist Party voluntarily withdrew its candidates from about half of the districts, contributing to the historic opposition victory. But crafting some sort of agreement this time round is easier said than done. Okay. For starters, relations between the CDP and Nippon Ishin are, to put things simply, not good, with Nippon Ishin maintaining its own goal of becoming the largest opposition party and showing hostility towards the CDP. So an agreement between the two looks unlikely. And secondly, potential cooperation with the Communist Party is tricky for the CDP too, as it could alienate conservative-leaning rural voters that the CDP is seeking to bring on side. Ultimately, it's too soon to say with any certainty.
They hate the commies out there in Japan too, dude.
What will happen at the next election, particularly as the government has until the end of October 2025 to hold it, and opposition demands for an early election have so far been rejected. But the reality is that while the chances may be relatively slim, the LDP hasn't looked this close to losing power since, well, the last time they lost power. But despite this, the opposition parties still have a significant uphill battle ahead. And even if some kind of opposition CDP-led government does come into power, they'll have to work hard to avoid history repeating itself.
Yeah.
I'm
not even sure if I personally would want this to happen. It seems like the party that's in charge is the most left-wing party that they have, besides the communists, of course. But you know, I don't know. I don't know. I reported on this a couple weeks ago that they've made some major changes to their economy and have raised the interest rates for the first time in over 20 years or something. So they might be able to pull themselves out of this negative rut here. Is it fair enough? Their Communist Party has done very questionable things in the past and has affiliated itself with questionable people. What? No. I refuse to believe communists could be bad. It's not that simple. Why is the decline of democracy a global phenomenon? Is it the decline? I mean, what we're seeing is the conservative right now these democracies are functioning, except in the United States where there's the real threat. But really, I mean, there's no, Pierre Poilievre in Canada, and the Tories in the UK, and no one else is really talking about dismantling. Well, Israel is talking about dismantling their democracy. Bibi Netanyahu would like to with his judicial reforms. I don't know. I'm hesitant to say it's the decline of democracy quite yet, because I'm seeing, these radical conservative parties are masking off all over the place. People fucking hate them, and they'd much rather have milquetoast corporate neoliberals than these fascists. So truly, for these extreme conservative parties to have the power that they desire, they truly do need to dismantle democracy. And really, the only place where I'm seeing conservatives actively, talk about, set a plan and talk about, and set deadlines for implementation, this Project 2025 stuff that I'm talking about, is in the United States. I don't, like I said before, I don't see the Tories doing it. I don't see the conservatives in Canada doing that. But I must say, the conservative parties in a lot of different countries are going strong, and what they offer it's the same old shuck and jive, man. It's the same old deregulate, tax cuts for the rich, same shit. They're not offering anything new. It's just different.
Last non-LDP government, elected in 2009, lasted just 3 years before the LDP returned to power on the back of a landslide election victory. There's definitely going to be new developments with this story, though, so keep an eye out for future changes. Actually, the best way to stay on top of the news is with Nebula News.
There it is. There's the sponsor. All right, so thank you so much, TLDR. Interesting stuff about Japan. We'll definitely be watching this space. We'll definitely be watching this space. I can't help myself, guys. So much fun to say. Yeah, we'll definitely be watching Japan and seeing about what happens with their politics. So definitely watch this space. Thank you so much. Pod save America. So update on the Slovak PM who was assassinated. Breaking news we had, when I was streaming about Georgia. Slovak PM here. Their politics are interesting. Very, very much. The society, the whole Japanese, of course I'm a fucking big nerd, right? So Japan to me is utterly fascinating, the good and the bad, which there's a lot of, just like every place. Surprise! Uh-oh. How are you gonna surprise me? Thank you for that follow. Okay, why is it so widespread? Okay, that's a good question, Clutch Cargo. You asked, so why is this, this stale conservatism that we've seen time and time again, the same shuck and jive as I described? Why are we seeing that coming back? Why is that, why is that still relevant? The racism, the xenophobia, and that goes back to these corporate milquetoast neoliberals who, to fill their pockets, they have to align themselves with oligarchs and rich elites in various ways. To make their money. So they have to please that demographic while also pretending to be progressive. And it leaves their inability to lead, as we've seen with Joe Biden in a lot of different cases. Not totally though. Joe Biden, is a mixed bag. But their inability to lead opens up the door for conservatives to lie to everybody, right? Use populism to convince people, oh, our way is better, right? And they understand that there's people have short memory spans, and they understand that, oh, okay, we can get back in. There's, eventually we can nail this narrative over and over and over again and get back in. And honestly, to answer your question, the reason why they have that ability is the weakness of the neoliberals to push back against their conservatism, to actually provide a viable alternative, right? Because there's really no reason why we're paying the amount that we're paying for gas. There's no good outside of greed. There's no good reason outside of greed that we're paying as much as we are for food, etc., for etc., for homing, for housing. God damn it. So their failure to lead opens up the disingenuous populist conservatives to lie to enough people to convince them that, well, you don't like it right now. Well, we got the better alternative. Just forget about that last time that we were in charge when we completely screwed the pooch. It'll happen immediately when Labor takes charge. When Labor takes over after the elections, when they defeat the Tories. It'll happen immediately. They'll start the narrative of like, oh, things were better under us. Remember, they're destroying it. They're destroying your way of life. They're attacking your way of life. Yeah, Clutch Cargo. Yeah, that's what's really frightening is I'm seeing a lot of Western left democracies embrace American-style neoliberalism because you get fucking rich. Because you get fucking totally fat, dude. Nancy Pelosi's a bazillionaire. I mean, she's a multimillionaire, but you know what I mean. She's fat fucking rich. So that's why it's so popular. Welcome back, Davey from 3 hours ago. What you talking about, homie? Davey, oh, here's a more current story. Oh, okay. Thank you. From about 3 hours ago. All right. Thank you, Davey. Whoops. All right, let's take a look. Slovakia's prime minister undergoes further surgery as suspect is identified. Oh, thank you so much, Davey, for giving me a link that doesn't work. What can I do with this link? Oh, I'll go to archive.is. Ooh, we got another follow. My God. The German guy with mustache. Okay, yeah, wow. Cool. All right, let me just go ahead and. How do I? It's such a pain in the ass when someone does that. It's like, how do I ban them? And hey, German guy with mustache, could you please say something in the chat so I can ban you and report you? It'd be really great. Just, pop an N-word or something in the chat really quick so I can just fucking, do all that. Yeah, Hitler was Jewish, dude. With few details about assassination attempt, questions swirl in Slovakia. The authorities have released little about the attack on Prime Minister Robert Fico. So we have the full video. Oh, it's Nietzsche? Oh, dude, that'd be funny if it was Nietzsche. That'd be kind of hilarious. I want my chud emote back. Yeah, how do you get that back? Nancy has a freezer full of ice cream. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Wow. You guys, I mean, she opened herself up to her immense hypocrisy during COVID, right? With her hair, getting her hair done, and I understand how things can be so bad. And she opens up her fucking freezer and it looks like a goddamn grocery store. Hitler was Austrian. Oh, sorry. I thought the rumors that he was Jewish were true. I don't know. I can't keep track of all the Hitler shit. I can't keep track. But no, I interrupted myself because I wanted to tell you in the Discord, Davey was nice enough to post different videos from multiple angles. If you want to see this 70-year-old man dump on Fico, man. Fucking gangster, man. Bop, 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 bop. He's getting tackled and he's still shooting. Which I'm not advocating for assassination, even though I'm not a fan of Robert Fico. I'm not advocating for assassination. I just think it's just, don't think an old guy is all frail and he's not, can't be deadly now. And this is going back to a totally different topic, but this is why I'm not totally anti-gun, because, old people, criminals think that they can victimize old people, and a 9mm pistol can, defend your home a whole lot better than cops that are 5 or 6 minutes away. Yeah, they'll take notes about your dead corpse, So it's no, I think I've seen too many stories of old people being able to defend themselves properly in their home. So yada, yada, yada. Going way off topic. Questions were swirling in Slovakia on Friday as shock over the attempted assassination of Prime Minister Robert Fico began to give way to trepidation over what comes next for the deadly polarized country. The authorities have kept details about the attack, the assailant, and even who is leading the country while the Prime Minister is hospitalized to a minimum. Well, I mean, isn't that pretty clear? Was basically a lame-ass boomer, as if getting rid of one politician would ever change anything in any way. Well, I mean, as I said in the previous stream, it doesn't work 95% of the time. Like the whole fantasy, okay, I'm going to take this guy out, and then A, B, and C happen, and then the revolution begins. 95% of the time, that doesn't happen. But it's not like it hasn't worked. Sometimes, somewhere, some places, throughout history, people love rolling the dice. They don't care what the odds are. Ironically, this will make Fico stronger politically, like Teddy the Bull Moose. Yeah, Clutch Cargo. Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens, right? Is that the person becomes a martyr, and it becomes wildly anti-productive, counterproductive. Jesus, my brain. Authorities kept the details on the attack to a minute. They have not named the suspect, whom Slovakia's interior minister described as a lone wolf, radicalized after last month's presidential election, nor said when he will appear in court. Yeah, so I mean, right here, it's just like perfect propaganda for this guy. To say, see, this is what the party that disagrees with me believes in. They sent this guy after me, and this is the kind of character that they are. Hey, Antifa, when you're burning down that McDonald's, I know it's awesome, it looks cool, but it's counterproductive for leftist movements. Violence just does not work the way we want it to work. Violence in your own defense is something completely different. When you're out in the streets, you're protesting and you're defending yourself, like we saw with UCLA counter protesters. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. That's a totally different form of violence, okay? But trying to make a statement by breaking into an Apple store or, burning down a McDonald's or whatever, or shooting or fucking gunning the guy down, it's counterproductive. We need the moral high ground. And it sucks. Because you don't think our enemies, the conservatives and those that want to destroy leftist movements aren't going to use that against us? You fucking bet you they will. You fucking bet they will, Oh, they're trying to keep the moral high ground, and there's certain things they won't do. They can strategize around that. Local media reported, police officers escorted. Yeah, I'm surprised he lived, man. He was not moving. In that footage, he was not moving. All right. Thank you, Davey, for this article. If you'd like it right here, you can go ahead and read the rest of it. I don't have time to read the whole thing, of course. I just wanted to do an update. The guy's alive. Didn't look very alive in that footage. They definitely were, they were like hiding him with a body bag, basically. Yeah, Jesus, sure, no problem. We're going to be covering Gaza in a couple more videos. So yeah, if you got something, I maybe we'll see. See. Post nationalist Dutch. Yeah, we'll see. Jesus, don't get too excited, buddy. All right, so moving on to Taiwan. You're gonna love this footage. Basically what's happening, it's kind of confusing, but the basic rundown of what's happening is the it would be really great if China took us over, and China's really great, and shouldn't we just rejoin China and all that party, which is basically what they are. They are trying to pass some laws right before the prime minister, who is anti-China, who is anti-China should take us over, who the people voted for. So we see Republicans do this in the United States as well. A governor or a mayor who is liberal is voted in, but the conservative Supreme Court and the conservative Congress and all the conservative bodies of government that are in that state then do everything they can preemptively with whatever time and power that they have left to reduce the amount of power and governing ability of that body before that person gets into office. This is basically the same exact thing. So this kind of physical resistance, it's uncouth, it's ugly, but it's also kind of understandable as well, because what they're trying to be is stooges for an invasion. They want to be the government that is forced to be put in place when China invades, and they're trying to convince everybody it's a great thing. Yeah, Katanga, interesting angle there. Yeah, I don't think that will fix anything. I don't think Japan's interested in that kind of shit anyway. They got their own problems. There it is. Okay. All right, let me just do a refresh here. What's that? How you doing? Yeah, there we go. Taiwan politicians shove and tackle each other in parliament. Better than China. I think what would be better is for an independent Taiwan to be its own entity and forge its own destiny. I think that would be best. So it doesn't have a majority. Opposition Kuomintang with more seats and closer ties with Beijing. Yeah. But yeah, they're just trying to strong arm, trying to force this crap through, trying to reduce the power of the because they know they know. They know that if this party is successful at standing firm against China, it's going to be really hard to, if the economy is stable and people, and things grow and things are stabilized and, the West has their back and they feel confident in defying China instead of being scared. It's going to be hard to reverse that momentum. Yeah, Zio. Look, I mean, I don't like it. It's very uncouth. I don't like to see it. But at the same time, we've seen China's tactics, right? oh, we're just gonna come, hang out, send a fleet, couple ships, not a fleet, but like a couple ships, 3 or 4 ships, float them in international waters or Taiwan's waters. Oh, kind of start fishing. Oh, it's kind of ours. We're gonna do it anyway. Straight up antagonizing. We've seen how China, tries to strong arm these democracies in general. But of course, Taiwan is one of their big targets. All right, so I'm very curious about this YouTube video. So I'm going to take a little peek at a different tab, make sure it's not a heading. Yeah, so that's what I thought we would see. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's a Gazan. They're faking it, guys. Didn't you know? It's a Gazan faking it. That's really cute. Yeah, I figured that's what that was going to be, Jesus. Thank you so much for your propaganda. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's no proof that Gazan people are dying and suffering, guys. It's all a big ruse, fake news. Most moral army in the world, IDF. Certainly no evidence. Show the video. Show the proof. It was a Gazan child, I don't know, with some makeup on his face under some rubble, and he was laughing, and because he was pretending to be hurt. Clear evidence that that the death toll is overblown and yada yada yada. What the fucking narrative? Jesus Christ! Full blown genocide denial, which is what it's called. I'm still uncomfortable with the genocide word. Full blown ethnic cleansing denial. It doesn't really matter, though, does it? What technically is and isn't genocide? It's attempted genocide. I feel pretty confident saying that. Yeah, Katanga.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
But cool it, babe. You got to cool it, buddy. All right, so we got Indian news here. Show the video. Show the proof. How many videos have I shown of pale, limp children getting pulled from rubble? I've of course had to blur it. The news will blur it, and I'll show it. But how many? There's several videos that have stained my mind. They're 1-year-old faces covered in dust and debris, totally dead. I have a video specifically about this ethnic cleansing denial. It's actually going to be, was it number? Yeah. Going to be a very, very early video in our Gaza coverage here. No, the UN did not have the number of dead in Gaza, right? Because that's what we're seeing, a bunch of denial. They call it genocide denial. It's whatever technicality. That doesn't really matter as much as the fact that it's straight up propaganda. It's a lie. That the number has somehow been magically reduced, and that it's the Palestinians are faking it, and it's absurd. It's absurd. But that's how it works, right? That's how gaslighting works. That's how it works. Yeah, woke patriot. No, I mean you couldn't tie these people down to on a chair and force them to watch the video. And it's fake. Oh, it's actors. Oh, I don't want to. But anyway, over to India. We'll be getting to Gaza because, of course, we have to talk about it. Wow, schizo posting. Cool. That's cool. India election. Modi rivals hit by string of raids and arrests. So the Modi dictatorship continues to, be born in front of us. I have no doubt that this man is going to, do what he needs to do to basically suspend elections at a certain point. I don't see any. I don't see any respect whatsoever for alternate choice. And unfortunately, he has, he's one of these guys. He's got a boogeyman. He has a religious boogeyman that he's able to target. I think they're a minority. I think. Yeah, no. I mean, this Modi character, mark my words, is going to be, you know, it's going to be dictator Modi by the end of this, and it really is going to require a massive push from the Indian people to do something about this. How's democracy doing? The world's largest democracy? Not great. Clutch, not great. Does that mean I want authoritarian strongmen? Or full-blown communism? No and no. We need what the left, what the progressive left that believes in liberty and democracy needs to do is take hold of the reins of government and show the world that neoliberalism is not the only form of leftism that is capable of governing. And we're doing a pretty dismal job of it right now. Kind of acquiescing our power to these mediocre characters like Joe Biden. When we could have more, you know. I mean, AOC, you know, she should be a contender. She should be up there. We should be talking about Vice President AOC, and you know, we won't be talking about AOC as, you know, some kind of real alternative until, like, what, 20 or 30% more of the Democratic Party dies, literally.
The spirit of campaigning in this long election process is at no risk of fizzling out. But many at this rally are emphatic that democracy is.
The democracy in India is not dead. It is bleeding profusely. I put Modi along with Putin and Xi Jinping.
India coming soon! 4 June! India coming soon!
As results day draws closer, the outcry over a so-called opposition crackdown intensifies.
Tonight, one man is dominating the agenda. Arvind Kejriwal, he's Delhi's chief minister, and his arrest in March became the symbol of democracy in decline. What do you think Kejriwal's arrest says about democracy in India?
I don't know about that.
केजरीवाल जी के साथ जो हो रहा है,
what has happened is complete dictatorship and against democracy. They are suppressing the voices of elected representatives.
आवाज को दबाने के लिए हो रहा है.
It was the first time in India's political history that a chief minister had been arrested.
Yeah. Classic dictatorship.
Now, a
Arrest your
26-party coalition known as the
We hear Trump, you know, pontificating and fantasizing about, you know, how he can't wait to do the same thing once he gets into power. Classic dictatorship. I mean, I'm talking, you know what I mean? That fucking cartoon comic book villain dictator shit, right? Just totally normal now. China claim a region, China border with India. If that claim for Tibet. I'm sure English is your second, third, fourth, or fifth language. So I'm just going to give you a break surprise and just kind of smile and nod along. Okay, bud? You're trying. You're giving it one hell of a college try, bud. In fact, many Hindu Indians support Israel simply because they think Israelis are based for genociding Mozzies. Mozzies, you mean Muslims? Yeah, I mean, it goes back to this, you know, to these old hatreds, but really it's a justification, you know, that it's a hammer looking for a nail, you know, it's just a justification to fill in what is ultimately, especially when you look at Israel, it's really about colonization, the religion, the vindication, the revenge, all of that is feeding into the primary goal, which is this acquisition of land and territory, which is something that has been happening, fuck man, forever, dude, for like literally ever. So we're still not done. We still haven't drawn the lines and started a real dialogue about communication. No, that's mine. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine. You're a monster. You're a monster. You're a villain. You're a demon. But it really goes back to colonization, and the religion kind of helps justify that. You know, whatever works. It's, you know, whatever works to justify power.
India alliance is desperate to puncture the ruling party's
Yeah, let's
power.
try to avoid slurs, okay, Katanga?
Kejriwal's release on bail last week was a moment of jubilation for the counter-campaign. But the arrest of opposition politicians is now commonplace. An example, they say, of the BJP manipulating government agencies.
Muslim is only the largest religion on planet fucking Earth. So we should acknowledge that.
I, Saket Neela Suhas Gokhale, having been elected a member of the Council of States.
Saket Gokhale, an MP for a centre-left party, spent 6 months in prison last year, accused of money laundering. The police say they're also looking into crowdfunding that he allegedly used for personal use.
I was arrested by Mr. Modi's government on the charges of
Islam. I mean, what did I say? Muslim? God damn it. God damn it. So they're not the largest anymore? Who's that? Christians? Is it the I don't give a fucks? I thought capitalism. My brain is not working. Yeah, Islam. They never were? All right. Okay. I don't care. I'll take your word for it. I don't care.
500 rupees, which is
it really
£5.
is a cancer.
And the Trinamool Congress has claimed that Saket Gokhale has been picked up again by the Gujarat police.
A small sum, he says, for a high price.
Well, there you go.
Inside prison, Mr. Gokhale says the BJP tried to buy his allegiance, a common tactic during this election.
Fastest growing religion.
The first 15 days I had people coming in, random mysterious people, policemen, lawyers, some unidentified people, coming in asking me and telling me, join the BJP, we'll give you $3-4 million US dollars. So that followed about another 2 weeks of then beatings and torture and
brand muffin.
They beat you up until you pass out.
Leave me alone.
At the time of his arrest, the BJP said Gokhale's party stood for terror.
You can say Muslim. Okay, I'm getting it mixed up, man.
That is for the judiciary to decide.
Is Muslim a race or a religion?
Where India is going?
Dictators come, dictators go. Democracy gets under threat.
1.1 billion.
And if it is under threat, a strong opposition is crucial to its survival.
There are a lot of people who say the opposition is in complete disarray.
I don't know where that comes from, because
people are called Muslim. Okay, thank you.
The opposition is not a homogeneous bloc in India.
I just see him as
the
human.
India Alliance is about 26 parties from different states of India.
Care about that shit.
That have come together.
At this polling station in the city of Indore in Madhya Pradesh, a BJP stronghold, voters are completely disillusioned with the opposition. If any of these people wanted to vote for the opposition Congress candidate, hard luck. He joined the BJP this week.
Yeah, that's the biggest religion.
There is no opposition. What can we do?
Agnostic, atheist.
So even if they stand, it's pointless.
I have read newspaper reports that claim he was forced to join the BJP.
It's Scientology, guys. Get it right. Come on.
We first meet Bansuri Swaraj, a BJP candidate, amidst the mayhem of her rally.
The opposition are feeling quite miserable. They're saying that the BJP is misusing government agencies to hold on to power. Is it?
First, they're the opposition. It is their job to feel a little bit miserable because
Next time, she answers our questions with her mother watching over, once Foreign Minister to Prime Minister Modi. Swaraj Jr. insists the electoral agencies are autonomous.
And get all kinds of history lessons in the chat.
Dissent, of course. From
See, this is why I like you guys in the chat. Look, you know, you keep me honest. I'm learning things. Because like there's a lot of misconceptions and ignorances, and biases. So this is how we create real movements. This is because what you do is you learn and you take from this experience, and then you spread the message. Right? I need all you guys to be Johnny Appleseeds out there, right? Planting those trees that your kids are going to enjoy that you'll never see. Right? It's about building this understanding of what is right and wrong, right? What you believe in, what you stand for. I guess that's a lot too awkward for a lot of kids, and they just rather watch Hassan.
Opposition parties, of course.
Yeah,
what does that look like to the party?
Well, you're teaching
if you actually see, all your questions are stemming from that dissent. Even the opposition, the fact that they have forged an alliance is stemming out of that dissent. The dissent seems to be extremely selfish, self-driven, self-serving, but then so be it. I'm again telling you, democracy in the country is alive and thriving.
Oh, I see.
Well,
She supports
that's decided then, according to the BJP.
Yeah.
There are 20 days till the world's largest democracy announces
They're just
its
haters,
election
basically,
results.
is what she
But
said.
many say the process has been tainted by a party hell-bent on holding on to power.
Well, the opposition is fired up. We saw that at the rally
My religion
a
is
little earlier.
quantum mechanics.
People say that Narendra Modi boasts to the world
That's
that
my-
India
that's
will
my
be
shit.
the Vishwa Guru. That means a world leader. But in reality, he's
Nietzsche
hollowing
and
away
quantum
at
mechanics.
India's
It's my religion.
democratic institutions. Take the Congress Party. They ran India for years and years. But then last year, they had their bank accounts frozen by the government for allegedly not paying their taxes. And the Congress Party said that really crippled its ability to fight this election. Also last year, 141 opposition
I saw a headline
MPs
about it,
were
Quantum-
suspended
or,
temporarily
Quantum
from
Monkey. I haven't read
Parliament.
up on it, no.
And in that time, the government passed through several landmark bills, including
belong to
a
Jesus.
controversial
How's that going
policing
for you,
law.
Father Dari?
And there was no opposition to that. There was no debate. It just happened. And so you might be wondering what
Look,
voters think
if
about.
you're wondering why I'm paying attention, but I'm not really commenting on it because this is, like I said, this is dictatorship. This is, I've showed the first part of a really amazing Modi documentary that came out about 6 months ago, I believe, and I've been meaning to show the second part, but it's very clear to me what's happening here. He's locking down power. He's destroying dissent. Soon, if it hasn't happened already, we'll see free media, any kind of free, independent media, completely destroyed. He's just literally checking the boxes, guys. He's almost doing it like lazily. You know what I mean? He's not really every time you see this guy, he's so like, he's like small and he's very quiet and he has the same face. And, it's like, where's the charisma? And he's just lazily checking the dictator boxes. Hindu fascism, sure. I mean, it's the cool thing about fascism, and I don't mean to say anything's cool about fascism, but it's really quite interesting because I don't see a lot of systems or a lot of frames of mind, whatever you want to call fascism, modes of government, whatever. I don't see a lot of systems that are able to assimilate the trappings of the culture that they're in, right? So there's American style fascism, there's Chinese style fascism, Russian style fascism, fill in the blank, right? It's fascinating how fascism can take on the symbology and identity of the governments, of the cultures and societies, but it's still basically fascism, right? Same shit. It's just, flavored differently. It's got different iconography, that kind of stuff. Really interesting. Tao of Physics is a great read. Oh, thank you, Ponder Monkey. I'll put that in the book recommendations area.
About this. A lot of people that we've spoken to here say what they really care about is public infrastructure, wages, the cost of living, the price of rice. But actually, there are also millions of people here who are deeply worried about where this country is going in terms of democracy.
Yeah. Here's where it's going. And the only people that are capable, the only entity that's capable of stopping this is the people. And that's what makes democracies so amazing. The best, worst system, it's the most fair system, it's the most equitable system when the people are participating. One of the first things that is probably done to undermine a democracy is making it difficult for people to express their desires about what direction they want their government to go in, right? Adding layers of bureaucracy to participating in those votes, making it difficult. And it's really interesting to me, right? Because under this guise of security and safety and anti-fraud, we have all this technology. We have fucking apps on our phone. We can get booze, pussy, and fucking food, delivered right to our door, right with the touch of a button. And we still haven't, we could do bank transactions. We could buy a car. We could buy, a house with an app, so there's all kinds of major financial transactions and things that we can do with the technology that we have. But, oh man, when it comes to voting, right, we still gotta, we gotta sign up and there's all these, rules and, gotta show up to the specific place. And Oh, you're disqualified for that reason, and you're disqualified for that reason. All right, so moving on from that, my democracy rants, they never end. But no, we have big, like I said, guys, big news happening. I mean, like 48 hours passes and, 300, you come back. It's like that scene from Community with the pizza. The whole fucking place is chaos. Right? Oh, go get the pizza. Comes back, and the whole place is on fire. Very similar kind of situation. 48 hours passes and all of a sudden riots and assassinations. Is this the politics of an evaporating Indian middle class? Oh, I don't know about that. And the thing about, Modi is that he definitely knows how to please the right kinds of people, right? The people that he knows are going to vote for him. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see. We'll be following up on Modi's rise to dictatorship as it happens. It's happening right before our eyes. It's fascinating. But no, new. Oh man, Caledonia. Oh come on, say this properly. Hey honey, how you doing? Oh my god, thank you, dear. I got it's a little mixed surprise talking about fucking consumerism is America's religion. Here we go. The quintessential consumerist object here, McDonald's. Look at that. Delivered right to my door. Thank you, honey. Sorry, how do I say this?
Caledonia.
Caledonia. Okay. The New Caledonia riots trigger state of emergency in territory as French police arrive. So this is, interestingly, we're talking about colonialism. This is the continued legacy of colonialism. These crusty ass empires, Britain doesn't want to give back the jewels they stole in their crown. They don't want to give those back. No one wants to give back their ill-gotten gains, but they want to claim their moral, democratic, and those times were times of the past. Meanwhile, we want to hold on to the spoils of that barbaric era. I'm Mick jealous.
This is about the Pacific territory, the French Pacific territory of New Caledonia. France saying the territory has, in its words, escaped state control. This is after a number of days of deadly violence. France has declared a state of emergency in the territory and has sent in reinforcements as well as blocking TikTok there, all part of France's efforts to try to deal with the unrest. At least five people have been killed in the rioting, including a French police officer, and hundreds more injured. And the reason for this, there's anger in New Caledonia over France's plan to impose new voting rules in the archipelago of around 250,000 people. The French authorities say around 200 people have been arrested. Well, I can speak now to David Boydell. He is in the capital, Noumea. His road has been protected by a barricade. Thank you very much, David, for your time today. Just explain for the viewers then exactly where you live and how close you are to where the trouble has been happening.
Yeah, strategy, yeah. Just give the ship back.
David, I think you're having a little bit of difficulty hearing me. I'm going to repeat the question. I believe you can hear me now. Can you explain for our viewers, please, where exactly you live in New Caledonia and how close your home is to where the trouble has been happening?
Right, we're in Noumea itself, in a suburb about 2 kilometers out from the center. And it's happening all around me. I've just been hearing tear gas about 400 meters away. The assailants are attacking the local supermarket. They've been razing the supermarkets to the ground. And it's a turn of hours now. So the police are obviously there firing canisters of tear gas.
Oh, thank you, Pucker.
So you're effectively in lockdown?
Yes, it's very much like COVID. We've not been out for several days now.
And how worried are you about the situation that is unfolding literally within earshot of your home?
You seem to have very little faith in democracy, Katanga. I can understand, some skepticism and trepidation, but honestly, I try to err on the side of freedom and giving people the ability to choose their own path. Sometimes, though, it doesn't go the way you want it to go. With that said, I'd rather err on that than err on, I don't know, technocratic, kind of authoritarian governments, this idea that, there's certain people that, they can't handle democracy. There's certain cultures and societies that can't handle democracy. They're too savage or whatever you want to describe them as. I generally disagree with that that mode of thinking.
We know that these assailants, for the moment, are not targeting people. There are people who've been hurt, and a lot of police have been hurt. But we know that they're not targeting people in particular. They're targeting buildings and just trying to raise all the infrastructure of Numia to the ground. But we have a barricade just outside our front door. I'm not sure whether that will hold. No one's armed here. They have a white flag on it to say they're not armed, but they don't want people to come in. So they'll try to persuade them not to come. So I'm a Christian, so my Christian faith gives me a certain optimism that God is in control despite
everything. God on the side, man.
And who put up that barricade that you've been talking about, David?
That's why he's chilling, even though there's fucking gunfire outside his window.
In the streets, there are several apartment blocks in the streets. And the neighbors all got together about 3 days ago and decided to put that barricade up. So you can cross it as you can. I actually went out once yesterday because our local supermarket opened. So they showed me a way through it, a little tunnel through the blockade, so I could go and buy a few things and come back.
And what word have you had, if any, from the authorities at this point to say how events might unfold in the immediate future over the next few days?
Well, we've had 1,000 police and gendarmes and soldiers have been drafted in. A lot of them arrived today. Some are at the airport. Some are already in Numia. There have been armored cars going through Numia. So we're hoping that things are going to be resolved, but it'll take some time. We know that this Sunday, for example, our service will be on Zoom, just like in COVID again. We won't be seeing people face to face, and we can't go very far from our own front door. But flights should be released as well. Next Tuesday, flights should be resumed.
David, thank you very much for talking to us, and stay safe. David Boydell there in New Caledonia.
So I know that was a little dry, but there's a man on the street giving us eyewitness POV of what's happening there. Should have maybe opened your window, given us something. But I do have one other video here that gives us a little better look of what the hell's actually happening here from Al Jazeera. New Caledonia unrest. France sends forces to Pacific Island.
Of security forces 17,000 kilometers away in New Caledonia head out from France on a mission to quell the violence.
Totally disagree, Katanga. It's democracy 100% and all the way, baby. It's the best worst system. It's the best one we got.
In New Caledonia's capital, Nouméa, looting and arson continue despite a curfew and state of emergency. French troops have also been deployed to back up hundreds of extra police officers. The mineral-rich Pacific Island became a colony in the 19th century. It still remains under French control.
Yeah, look, Winston Churchill was the right man for the time, but it was absolutely 100% correct for him to be voted out of office when he was done. He was a full-blown, pro-monarchy, anti-democratic kind of guy. He didn't believe people could handle democracy. He believed people needed to be managed. With that said, Winston Churchill was the right man for the time to fight the Nazis. 100% correct about the Nazis, but it was 100% correct for that democracy to say no, thank you anymore, Mr. Winston Churchill. Now that the Nazis are defeated, we don't want because he wanted to bring back the fucking supremacy of the British Empire. Winston Churchill, he was kind of a George S.S. Patton, he was doing a little Patton thing himself over here. He was like, yeah, we should go into Russia.
The situation there remains very tense, with looting, riots, fires and assaults that are obviously intolerable and unspeakable. I would remind...
Yeah, I don't like Trump, but that doesn't mean I stand against, bad democratic decisions. It just means that we need to, get more people involved, really, honestly. The Republicans have lost time and time again the popular vote over and over and over again. The people don't want Republicans. It's just about, hell, that's not even, is it fair to call the Electoral College real democracy? You know what I mean? Is Donald Trump, the result of the Electoral College really the product of a functioning democracy? It's hard to call the Electoral College functioningly democratic.
Still remains under French control.
La situation y reste très tendue.
The situation there remains very tense, with looting, riots, fires and assaults that are obviously intolerable and unspeakable. I would remind you that 2 gendarmes have died. A gendarme was shot in the head yesterday. Another gendarme died today as a result of a weapon mishandling.
When the rioting started earlier this week, politicians from the Kanak indigenous community accused France of trying to dilute their voting power.
L'Assemblée nationale a adopté.
The French Parliament has adopted a constitutional reform bill which will allow all French residents who have lived in New Caledonia for more than 10 years to vote in elections. The Kanaks, who make up about 40% of the population, say they're being marginalized by the French. New Caledonia has one of the biggest nickel mining industries in the world, but 1 in 5 residents live below the poverty line.
Katanga, are you really going to use Fortune 500 oligarchs as your example for functioning efficiency? These same greedy motherfuckers that are in-shitifying all of their products right before our eyes, stripping them and ripping them, making horrific decisions. You're really going to point to the Fortune 500 idiots as some kind of, oh, you see, they're doing it right? Are you serious?
These images of damage from the rioting were filmed on Thursday by a businessman who says he had to pass through roadblocks controlled by gunmen.
What is really happening is that as I move a lot to see family members or keep an eye on my properties, I see everything on the roads. I see the stores looted by the people. I see the fires in the docks, warehouses, offices. I admit, even I carry a gun with me all the time to handle any situation.
The reform bill needs to be ratified by Congress before becoming law. While French forces clamp down on violence on the orders of President Emmanuel Macron, he's also calling for dialogue with the opposition in New Caledonia. Right now, that seems unlikely. Andrew Simmons, Al Jazeera.
Well, I don't know who to I really don't know who to root for here. A feeling that I've been getting used to lately. Seeing some of these conflicts, it's like, yeah, I don't know who to, this is chaos. No one's really. It's like that situation with barbecue, All right. Last video I have for you before we jump into the Gaza stuff, which I know everyone's just looking forward to. This Katanga motherfucker over here talking about how CEOs, really, are you what, let me guess, you're a Bloomberg guy, you're an Andrew Yang guy, you're a Vivek Ramaswamy guy. Our government should be run like these Fortune 500 companies that are so wildly successful. Please. Lived there for 10 years, becoming eligible to vote. I think it's unreasonable for people to live there for 10 years, becoming eligible to vote. Yeah. So this is the last bit of footage I have. I don't think it's unreasonable. Right. But no, this footage will shock you. This woman doing her job, she's not. That's what they're rioting over. Yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable for people to have lived there for 10 years becoming eligible. It's not. It's not. 10 years? Yeah, you're living there, right? You're contributing. You can't be there for 10 years and not be contributing to the economies. But no, back to this footage here. This footage will shock you. All right, if you're doing something else, come back to the TV, come back to the screen. because you're going to want to see this. This is totally mind-blowing. This woman, she's not on her cell phone. She's just, doing her job, driving along on the bridge, and then this happens. And she is literally hanging, dangling, and it's kind of because her seatbelt does its job and kind of keeps her in place, right? But she is now literally vertical, looking straight down into the water. It's interesting that she is not looking forward; she's looking away, probably because she's so terrified. But thankfully, I'm showing this and explaining it bit by bit here because she is successfully rescued. Thank goodness. Her truck. Yeah, no, I'd be like, bring me some new pants. I don't want to be on the news with these pants. But really quite amazing. If you look at the footage here, you can kind of see what happens. And it's, of course, selfish drivers. He's in too much of a hurry. So there's a vehicle here that is having some kind of failure, mechanical failure of some sort. I assume it has its hazards on. But damn, look at that. This truck over here, he's in too big of a hurry. He's got somewhere to go. So he does he thinks he's slick. And it's interesting, the perfect timing too, because it's this truck right here that obscures his vision. Look at this big old truck, he doesn't see this thing. He thinks he has an opportunity to scoot around. And that's it. And look, it's probably a young driver. And he's probably going too fast, and that's all it takes right there. And then she's counter steering. She's doing everything she can to steer against this, but the momentum is there. The physics are happening. The inertia is happening. She's got a load behind her, pushing her, no matter what she's doing in the cab. It's a no passing zone on bridges anyway. He crossed it. Yeah, no, I mean totally. Yeah, he goes into the opposite lane. And right here, thank God Boeing didn't build this truck. And yeah, she's just very lucky. I mean, because she's actually super, super lucky that she caught this right here and she wasn't over here or right before. So, the stars aligned for this woman to keep her life. And what the hell is going on with the bridges in America? It's all happening at once, just like the train derailments. Pretty crazy stuff, but thankfully she does survive, so that's great news. And hey, wear your seatbelt, folks. Wear your seatbelt. I mean, I don't know what would have happened to this woman if she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. She's actually, it doesn't even look like she moves around that much, right? But no, she's in there. She's strapped in there. But she's dangling, like, that's crazy. But wear your fucking seatbelt, folks. That's the lesson of the day. And pray to God, obviously. Pray to the one true Christian God, obviously. That too. Obviously. Think it's an optical illusion? It's fake news? Yeah? By the way, thank you everybody, including you lurkers, you OGs that have came in, and are still here chatting it up. Thank you so much for being here, being part of the News Underground. Thank you so much. You guys are what make this stream great. So thank you for being here, keeping me honest, letting my stupid brain be stupid. I appreciate it. Give me Jabbo. Give me Jabbo. Give me money, and then I can give you Jabbo. Can't wish big money. Yeah, buddy. Look. I exist to destroy the oligarchy. I want to fucking snap, Jeff Bezos's fortune over my knee like Bane. Okay? I want to redistribute wealth so hard it'd make your head spin. Okay? You're over here talking about, oh yeah, the country should be run by like a CEO. Country should be run like a CEO. What the fuck is the value of a billionaire? Why don't you tell me that? Oh, we're making jobs. No, you're not. You're making dookie coming out your mouth. We're job creators. And how come you don't make some more fucking jobs then, bud? Because we need them. We're ready to work. It's not a labor shortage. It's a wage shortage because oligarchs, the ones that you support, are participating in a massive race to the bottom where they're implementing third world working conditions in the first world and calling themselves innovators. Billionaires die penniless just like the rest of us. I mean, you don't get. Are you trying to say you don't get to take the money with you? Is that what you're trying to say? I definitely agree with that sentiment. Yeah, thank you, Davies, and I do agree with that. What the fuck is the point of a billionaire? Huh? Pay your fucking taxes. How about we talk about that? Oh yeah, well Elon Musk paid a lot of taxes. Not compared to his fucking income. Compared to his actual income, he paid less taxes than I did. Oh, he paid tens of billions of dollars in taxes. Yeah, because he made hundreds of billions of dollars. And the percentage that he paid on that is much less than what I pay on my meager fucking, 50 grand? I don't know. 60 grand, 80 grand? Pittance. Measly old Elon Musk. Okay. Thank you so much, homie. We're having a break on you. We're taking a little break. Thank you. Oh, poor Elon. I am not gonna have defenders of the fucking oligarchy in my fucking chat pretending like they got the solutions to the fucking problems of the world, like Andrew Yang. Oh, I got the solution. We should just hand over power to the oligarchs. That's a simple solution. Run your government like a Fortune 500 company. That'll work great. Meanwhile, you get somebody with that mindset like Trump in there, throwing his hands up, thinking that he's now king of America, realizing there's systems and checks and balances he has to work within, so he can't just pass edicts like he can with his companies. Well, I don't want to deal with this democracy crap. Immediately finding democracy to be a hindrance. It's exactly what would happen with a CEO president. The moment we get a Bloomberg in charge, he would find democracy and all the trappings of it to be a complete hindrance to his agenda. And would immediately start the process of dismantling it. Why? Because that's how corporate people run their companies, like a fucking little fascist dictatorship. I don't want to hear it. Back over to Gaza. Poor old Elon Musk. So, do you guys want to know what it's like to be a Palestinian on the ground being blown up by Israel for no fucking reason? You're literally in a refugee camp in Jabalia, I believe, this one. Yeah, Jabalia. So you're just hanging out in a refugee camp in Jabalia, a designated safe area that Israel has said should be safe, that we are not going to attack, that you can come here and be safe. But this is what it feels like to be one of those people on the ground when you are chilling in your safe refugee area in Jabalia. Have a little look. Pause the music here. Have a little look. This is what it feels like.
استهداف الآن علينا صاروخ علينا الآن في قلب المكان مسيرة إسرائيلية الآن ننقل لكم المشهد طائرة الكواد كابتر تقوم باستهدافنا بشكل مباشر هذه هي الطائرة فوقنا تماما الآن طائرة الكواد كابتر تعال أنا سنة
Fake news, crisis actors, guys.
هذا هو المشهد كما تشاهدون.
Yeah, see, that's just Hollywood. That's just a sound effect. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Israel wouldn't attack a refugee camp that they've designated as a safe spot. They would never do that. Come on, guys. But anyway, just go ahead. Just ignore that evidence. Come on. Come on. Fake news, obviously. So I have avoided talking about this. Talk about literally, but no, fake news, Lenny. It's not true. Come on. Most moral army in the world. Come on.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
So I've actually avoided talking about this little nugget that came out. It was about last week about, this narrative that I saw on social media and amongst mainstream media who pounced on this. Oh, the numbers, they're skeptical about the numbers. Oh, you see the numbers are, with really deceiving headlines about the numbers being inaccurate and the numbers not adding up. And, the numbers have been reduced by the UN. Oh, no. And we can't trust the Hamas numbers. We can't trust. You see, this is why. Literally the first, before we even got to the Gaza section, we had someone in the chat repeating this attempted genocide denial, ethnic cleansing denial, trying to use this as an example. Oh, see, the numbers aren't right. Thank you, Davey, for those links. These camps are a corral for slaughtering people. How dare you? They're concentrating people in camps? No, come on. But no, so I've avoided talking about that because I knew something was up. I didn't have the time to dig into what the nuance was, but I was like, that can't be right. The United States has been using these numbers. International bodies across the world have been using these numbers. These numbers are verified and checked. There's all kinds of checks that go into these numbers. It's not just guessing. It's not just guesswork. So what's the difference? What are people talking about? What's the whole hullabaloo about? Well, it's about identified bodies versus bodies that are so torn up or destroyed that it's impossible to identify who they were. Right? Like a torso without a head and an arm, which is exactly what happens when Israel drops a bomb on an apartment. People shatter, people explode like a cartoon. It's disgusting. So yeah, they find a torso with an arm and no hand, right? So you can't identify, no fingerprints or nothing. I don't even know if Palestinians have a fingerprinting system, Probably not. I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. But you know what I mean? So that's what they're talking about. Bodies that have a name versus bodies that they can't put a name to yet. That was the reduction. And that the entire social media, pro-Israel social media went, see, yep, see. So Mehdi over here with his new Zateo network, really great stuff. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, folks. I'm not subscribed. I'll subscribe. I like them. I like it. It's been in my algorithm. I like it. I'll subscribe. Get on it, folks. Like and subscribe to Zateo. Good stuff. Mehdi-san. Stone cold motherfucker, dude. Love him. Good guy.
What do you do if you're Israel and you're being accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice, being accused of genocide by some of your own country's leading Holocaust historians like Professor Amos Goldberg, being accused of genocide by more than half of Democratic voters in the United States?
Yeah, clutch cargo, exactly.
Why you engage in genocide denial, of course. You say the numbers aren't real, it's all Hamas propaganda, and you insist that you didn't really kill that many Palestinians. Now, per the health ministry in Gaza, which as the media never fails to remind us, is controlled by Hamas, we have all been reporting that over 30,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, including more than 14,000 children. 2/3 of the victims, women and children. But wait! Last week, the Jerusalem Post, an Israeli newspaper, which earlier in the war claimed a dead Palestinian baby was really a doll and that the Palestinians were faking it, the Jerusalem...
So that was literally what that Jesus character was posting a video. Oh, yep, see, proof, look. It's probably from some movie or something. That's usually what it is, some production. But, oh, look, some Palestinian kid goofing around. He's got, dirt on his face, and he's pretending to be in the rubble, and he's smiling and laughing. And that's supposed to be some kind of proof that, these international... agencies that are double checking and triple checking and like literally going to, going to these locations and verifying this kind of stuff up close and personal. Like that's some kind of evidence that is some kind of, grand illusion or something.
Post published this piece headlined UN seemingly halves estimate of Gazan women, children killed. They pointed to this infographic from the UN.
That's what I was talking about, right? So I was avoiding talking about this because I was seeing these headlines and I'm like, something isn't right. Something is not right about that. But, just to give an example of just how disingenuous some of these pro-Israeli outlets are, UN seemingly halves estimate of Gazan women, children killed? No, that's a total lie. That's not even spin. That's a lie. And you'll see why.
Of Gazan women, children killed. They pointed to this infographic from the UN for Gaza casualties up to May the 6th. compared to this UN infographic for Gaza casualties up to May the 8th. And so the Israeli PR machine jumped into action. Israel's foreign minister called it the miraculous resurrection of the dead in Gaza and claimed that the UN had reduced its estimate of women and children killed in Gaza by 50%. The Israel War Room account on Twitter posted this graphic. The UN quietly admitted Hamas's casualty numbers are fake.
No, they didn't.
All over social media, pro-Israel accounts trumpeted this shocking new revelation. The numbers aren't that high. Hamas lied. The UN was duped. Of course, none of that is true. The UN did not say that Hamas's numbers are fake. They didn't cut the death toll in half. Nothing, in fact, really changed. Look at those infographics again. Between the 6th of May and the 8th of May, the death toll didn't go down. It went up from 34,735 to 34,844. But hey, what's 109 dead Palestinians? Not even worth noticing, right? The only thing that changed in those 2 days is that on May the 6th, the UN provided a number for reported fatalities, over 34,000. And on May the 8th, it provided a number for reported fatalities, again, over 34,000, but also included a new subset of 24,686 identified fatalities. That's it. What they're making a song and dance about, what they're pretending is some smoking gun evidence of a Hamas cover-up, is literally just the difference between fully identified bodies.
And they absolutely did. Even going out of the way, some rando in some, 20 viewer Andy's channel to spread that narrative, taking time out of his day to come into my chat to immediately engage in this dishonest narrative. Oh, well, do you see this? Look at this proof. Oh, I got a link. You want to see it? Oh, this is going to work. This is going to work.
And unidentified or partially identified bodies. That's it.
Yeah,
and among
we'll
the identified victims, by the way, a clear majority, 60% of them, are still women, children, and the elderly. Is that something to brag about? Killing women, children, and the elderly? If it was only 24,000 dead, not over 34,000 dead. In fact, it's now actually over 35,000 dead. But if it was 24,000 dead, is that somehow much better, less brutal, more moral?
It's water, folks.
And by the way, both UN infographics make clear that neither the 24,000 nor 34,000 numbers even include the more than 10,000 bodies still missing or stuck under the rubble.
Like I said, it's an underestimate.
Oh, and just one more thing, specifically on reported dead versus identified dead. Be careful where you go with this line of argument. Because I would remind you, Yad Vashem, which is Israel's official memorial to the Holocaust, honoring, remembering the 6 million Jewish people who were brutally killed in the Holocaust, lists 4.8 million names of Jewish victims of the Nazis. So should we all become Holocaust deniers and say 6 million people didn't die in the Holocaust because there are only 4.8 million names listed at Yad Vashem? No, of course we shouldn't say that. That would be grotesquely ignorant and offensive. That would be genocide denial, just as this is in Gaza. So that's number one. The UN didn't halve the number of dead women and children in Gaza. That's just a lie that went viral. Number two, it's always worth repeating that the Hamas Health Ministry numbers, aren't actually controversial or unreliable. They're trusted by the people who matter.
They're not.
Don't take my word for it. Human Rights Watch has said, quote, everyone uses the figures from the Gaza Health Ministry because those are generally proven to be reliable.
That's right.
One of the world's leading medical journals, The Lancet, says there is no evidence of inflated mortality reporting from the Gaza Ministry of Health. The US State Department has repeatedly cited health ministry figures internally with hardly any caveats. And here's the best one of all. Israeli intelligence has made the health ministry's data their main source of information, with one official source telling Israeli journalist Yuval Abraham, quote, I trust the health ministry in Gaza more than the IDF for these statistics. Not my words, and Israeli intelligence officials. And finally, number three, let me say this. There has always been one central goal to all this genocide denial and propaganda around lower death tolls: to dehumanize the Palestinians who have been killed.
Yeah, Clutch, he had to go.
That's the goal. And if you have any doubt about that, let me leave you with this headline from the Rupert Murdoch-owned New York Post last week, the headline to a piece co-authored by one of the most influential liberal defenders of Israel in the United States, Professor Alan Dershowitz. Quote, just how many of Gaza's civilians are entirely innocent?
Remember, last time we had Dershowitz on the News Underground, we were doing the Coogan Suit BS Roundup. And, Alan Dershowitz won resoundingly, quadruple the amount bullshit statements and ended the debate with Norman Finkelstein, or the interview with Piers Morgan, whatever you want to call it, ending it by calling Finkelstein a Nazi who would have defended the Holocaust, which is just to give you an idea of the kind of person Dershowitz is. Notwithstanding, of course, the appearances on Jeffrey Epstein's pedo plane, but he was just my friend, and he was just doing me a favor. I better not do the voice. I'm gonna get in big trouble. Don't do the fucking voice, man. Yeah, Dershowitz is a piece of shit, though, for real.
Can you imagine a headline in any Western newspaper which said, after the massacres on October the 7th, just how many of Israel's civilians are entirely innocent? Of course you can't. It would rightly never happen. But hey, Israelis are human beings. Palestinians, apparently, are not.
Pucker. Good one, bud. Yeah, it's, yeah, cool it. Seriously. Jesus.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Don't do the voice. So much fun. Can't do voices anymore. The left sucks the fun out of everything. If this was a right-wing stream, I could do voices all day. People, you guys would think I'm so funny. Oh, Steven Crowder, and the new Steven Crowder. He's so funny. He's so clever. You seen that? You seen Steven Crowder dress up like a Chinaman? You seen that shit? People loved it. I can't even do a Jewish voice. All right. Well, that's what being progressive gets you. Okay. So wanted to show this video here. We earlier, I think it was a couple days ago, we showed that very interesting video. She kind of has it up here in this freeze frame. You might recognize this. It was that video Davey posted in there, and he said, "Look, I don't know I don't know what this is, but this is being claimed that that this is Hamas members that are doing something with the UN. They're using UN vehicles to transport weapons, or it's evidence. It's evidence that the UNRWA and the UN are working with Hamas to take over Israel. Yada yada yada." So, I chose to show this to be like, look, guys, we can't be defending Hamas, whether it's true or not. The left can't be seen trying to recontextualize Hamas as liberators or freedom fighters, because of what they believe in, what they actually are. And at the end of the day, they do use the Palestinian people cynically and things like that. So I still stand by those statements about how the left needs to just accept the fact that Hamas are terrorists, they're monsters, acquiesce. I know. We don't want to acquiesce to any of these right-wing narratives, to any of these conservative narratives, these extremist narratives. But look, it's a rock and a hard place situation here. I understand that it's there are other organizations in the Gaza Strip that are not Hamas, that are affiliated, that are resisting. So it's really hard to tell if there's any one group, who's claiming responsibility. It's not like they run around with insignia like a normal battlefield. So I understand that a lot of the time it's Hamas or nothing else. If there wasn't Hamas there, then Israel wouldn't have any resistance. But my argument is that this resistance, these rockets, these pot shots, these surprise attacks are basically counterproductive. It basically feeds right into the Bibi Netanyahu's annihilation narrative that the moment we give any kind of peace to the Palestinians, that they are going to use it to build their strength and then start an invasion, etc., etc. I'm just asking questions, but no, look, I'm trying to be honest here. It looks like France 24 did some digging, which it's so funny. This show might as well be the reverse image search, truth or fake. Might as well be the reverse image search show, because that's literally like their number one tool. But anyway, they did some digging and they have some information about the source of these videos and maybe who these guys are, what they were, because we were speculating maybe there's security. It's what's the deal? We're not 100% sure. Things were very nebulous. But with that said, I still stand by this. Like when Piers Morgan says, "Do you condemn Hamas?" You should say yes, and let me explain, my position and everything. But there shouldn't be a hemming and hawing and, just say yes. Okay? They're bad guys. They're a bad organization. I understand, there was a really democratic election 20 years ago in the Gaza Strip to put these people in charge. They're not interested in maintaining that democracy. They're not interested in anything else but power. And their tactics are hackneyed and amateur. They take hostages, but then they don't keep track of them. They slaughter people, men, women, and children. In various ways, totally feeding into, Israel's narrative that these people are barbaric and don't deserve human rights. And then, of course, we have the connections with Bibi Netanyahu and Hamas, and et cetera, et cetera. But I still stand by that. Like the left needs to figure out and have the balls and strength to condemn terrorism where it's legitimate. Because look, if you're a lefty from the Bush era. You're like, oh, yeah, well, what's terrorism? Literally anybody who's fighting against American hegemony, right? That's your terrorist, right? So I get that, though. The whole term has been muddied and confused and everything. But terrorism and terrorists still exist, and the left should have the intellectual capacity to differentiate between what is an actual organization that is fighting against empire and an organization that is tyrannical and authoritarian in its own right, and that if, the more power it's given, the more damage it's going to do. I think the left needs to be able to do that, because far too often I see just lazily, oh, well, they're actually freedom fighters and, blah, 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 blah. And it's no, the freedom fighters don't fire at their own people. Freedom fighters don't put ammo and weapons in a school. And while IDF in Israel has been lying their ass off about how the amount of, and the proliferation of tunnels and all that, the fact remains is that Hamas does do those things. They do use hospitals and schools and other places that they know civilians are going to congregate in for their operations. Well, then the argument goes, well, it's Gaza is all civilian. It's literally just a strip of civilian area. Where else would they do their operations? There's other places. Residential building. You don't have to put your fucking weapons in a hospital. You don't have to put your weapons in a school. There are other locations within the Gaza Strip. I do acknowledge, though, that the blockade, the fact that the Gaza Strip was an open-air prison, does change things for Hamas, right, in terms of strategy. But there's far too much evidence that points to Hamas not really caring for its people, but really leveraging their innocence, leveraging their vulnerability for their own, combat leverage. And to me, that's just far too cynical. So anyway, I just got all that out of the air there. I still stand by what I said, but it does look like the clip that we showed, something might be up with it. Let's watch.
And more Maxwell over by the big board. A very good evening. The Israeli army's released drone footage.
Yeah. I think Woke Patriot, I can't argue with that. I think it is fair to say that they are resistance of some form. Whether it's productive or, effective resistance, I think is definitely on the table. But sure, give it to them. Yeah, they are some form of resistance.
Same shows armed terrorists operating at the UNRWA compound in Rafah. Proof, they say, of the UN's complicity with Hamas. Is it true or is it fake, Emerald?
Well, this footage was published a couple of days ago and was immediately widely shared by Israeli army spokespeople on social media channels.
Yeah,
here is one who says gunmen, likely Hamas terrorists, hanging out at an UNRWA warehouse in eastern Rafah a few days ago. Another spokesperson describes it as saboteurs alongside.
So once again, we see evidence of Israel, representatives of Israel and the IDF. Pouncing on any piece of information and immediately lying about it, immediately spinning it and being disingenuous about it. It really does make, when statements come out from Israel, when these narratives come out that are pro-Israel, it really does make it harder to believe. And quite frankly, how much more, a crying wolf can we actually swallow? I guess quite a bit if you have characters like Tapper Jake and Morning Joe who are sleeping at the wheel.
UN vehicles opening fire inside an UNRWA compound. Let's have a look at the video, the footage that they're describing.
ISIS?
So in it, we see a few men, some of them armed, milling about next to some UN-marked vehicles. And the IDF has highlighted these three as terrorists, and they say they are in an UNRWA logistics compound. In the next clip, if we scroll forward a tiny bit, we see a man carrying a firearm, walking up to a car and putting it in the car. And that's closely followed by a third clip, which the IDF says shows terrorists shooting at civilians in the UNRWA compound. In fact, we see an armed man dispersing people from the compound, but we can't actually confirm that shots were fired from the footage. That didn't stop the Israeli foreign minister from claiming on X that this was that Hamas terrorists were firing at civilians within the compound, and that UNRWA was an arm of Hamas, and going further by calling for the resignation of the UNRWA Commissioner General Philippe Lazzarini. Israeli media also ran with this. Here they are. Here it is on French channel I-24, where the headline reads, UNRWA operational base for Hamas. They report that the Israeli army also called on the UN to investigate. Mark.
It was the use of Peter Lerner's word there, likely, that was the alarm, wasn't it? Because if it's likely terrorists, well, it is or it isn't. You need to sort of know the facts, don't you? Emerald, what does the UN have to say about this footage?
Yes, he said it, and of course, the Israeli foreign minister also called them Hamas terrorists. But UNRWA spokesperson Juliette Touma said the agency could not verify the authenticity or content of the video, nor the exact timing or location, but it was likely that the video was filmed in that warehouse in Rafah, that UNRWA warehouse, that staff had actually evacuated following Israeli evacuation orders issued.
I'm not really seeing any kind of, it just seems like no one's confirming one way or the other so far. I'm not really seeing a lot of evidence that they're not Hamas. That's really what makes this whole thing, because like I said before, they could be, gun-toting resistance fighters that are not associated with Hamas. There's apparently dozens of other groups that, they probably work with, they work next to, but they don't necessarily agree with Hamas totally. It's probably, like the difference between, it's probably little differences here and there. But that, but maybe not, maybe not. Maybe it's like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation where it's like, yeah, well, I really don't appreciate how you're running the government. I disagree with all these things, but you are a group taking up arms. We're a group taking up arms. We have an enemy that's invading. We're going to put away our disagreements and work together with you. That's probably what's, a lot of that's probably what's happening there as well. But honestly, Israel has done such a good job of making, getting information out of this location a deadly ordeal for the journalists are there. I haven't seen a lot, even from Al Jazeera, I haven't seen a lot of reporting about, these different factions and, who's fighting for who and, all these different things that are happening. The chaos is really hard to break through, it seems.
Prior to Israeli forces entering Rafah on May 7th, the Israeli army claims that the footage was filmed on Saturday, 11th of May. That's after UNRWA says they left. Here we see on this map the area, the zone that was evacuated. Here, the UNRWA warehouse is indeed in that zone. The UNRWA spokesperson also said that they had left behind some flour and some vehicles at the compound, but that the agency condemns the use of UN facilities by any party to the conflict for fighting purposes.
So yeah, that I think I speculated about that as well when I showed that the first time, that these could be fake UN vehicles or stolen UN vehicles. This could be Hamas who's using, and like there's evidence of this, Hamas using civilian style vehicles, ambulances, things like that. And then you go back to this, well, it's an open air prison. What would you do if you were, you would probably get pretty clever, like we saw with the French resistance, right? That, during World War II, you'd probably get very clever about moving things around. Does that give Israel the justification to say, well, we're not 100% sure, but we've seen that done in the past. So justification to blow up World Central Kitchen's truck. Yeah, there's a 25% chance that there's weapons in there too. So, go for it. It's all, if you're on the battlefield, then you're a target.
So we cannot verify who these armed individuals are, but neither is there any proof that they are from Hamas. And according to fact-checkers at Mizbar, these are, who spoke to eyewitnesses in Gaza, these are security personnel who are not affiliated with Gaza, but who are tasked with protecting from theft the aid that UNRWA provides. And as this AP footage shows, they have been regularly seen out and about, numerous instances, protecting the aid on trucks carrying the supplies. And according to Ms.
So there you go. I mean, this is how confusing things can get. So this is a very legitimate reason to be holding a gun, to be, you know, to be in civilian clothes holding a gun. This is in, I believe this is in Palestine, because what happens is they get swamped. People are hungry and desperate. And, you know, they just swamp the trucks, right? So you need, you know, I don't think this guy's shooting at people. He's probably going to be shooting in the air. But, you know, it adds like, okay, there's an armed guard here. You know, do we really want to, you know, hit this truck up? People, you know, people are very, very desperate.
But recently, these armed individuals have also collaborated with
new vehicle,
the Popular Protection Committees, which we have previously reported on here at France.
Interesting, right? So if you were to walk up to like 99% of people on the street and say, look, here's a picture of Hamas, they'd be like, oh, yeah, wow, look at that. Look, so scary. No, these guys are not affiliated with Hamas. These are like, you know, people that are, you know, protecting their neighborhood. They're doing local police, you know, protecting the what is left of society from going completely bananas. They're, you know, they're just, you know, they're security, they're local security, right? But, you know, Israel could pop that picture up and 95% of social media would be like, oh yeah, Hamas, look at that.
Popular Protection Committees, which we have previously reported on here at France 24, they sprang up to keep order on the streets in Rafah because, of course, there is an absence of local authority resulting from the war. So this Israeli army footage does seem to have been shot at the UNRWA warehouse, but it doesn't offer proof of UNRWA's complicity with Hamas, as claimed, because the agency had already evacuated the compound, and the armed men appear to be part of these committees safeguarding aid, Mark.
Indeed, Israel initially making its accusations about UNRWA being involved in October the 7th, way back before March, I think it was, and still not really providing evidence about that.
Yeah, that's
so
know,
really
that's a great point as well, is that the propaganda we've seen about UNRWA hasn't really been backed up. Kind of like those the G.I. Joe style command center that was supposed to be under that hospital that didn't really materialize. So this Weave person posted a Twitch clip about someone's take. It looks like about Hassan or something. I guess I'll show it. Whatever. I don't know, whatever. I'm not too big to show random shit. We'll take a look.
Then it's about time that I finally admitted in front of all of you that I do, in fact, believe in power. Maybe.
Okay, that's really stupid. I don't care. My comment is this. Fuck that. Thanks for wasting everyone's time, jackass. That's my comment. Moving on to the next link here. Getting into some slightly older news that I wasn't able to cover a couple days ago. XOF. There's a pretty interesting rules of engagement. Have a gun, dressed in black, get in UN vehicle, smoke them. I mean, that's, you know, as we saw in Vietnam, you know, the lines get blurred so easily, and you get guys out there that it's like, it's them or me. You know, I want to go home. I want to survive. I'm not even going to take the risk. I don't care. I'll worry about the moral ramifications of my actions later. But yeah, so this is just a couple days old. It's not that old, but it's a couple days old. I didn't have time to cover it, but here we see hero to humanity, and my personal hero, Greta Thunberg here, getting arrested at a pro-Palestine rally in Sweden. And, you know, and like, she's probably targeted quite a bit because she's a leader. So they probably go after her pretty quickly. They probably want to get her off the battlefield as quickly as possible. But this is what it looks like. You got to sacrifice. Morality is optional. But this is, you know, look, it's not convenient. You know, standing up for what you believe in, you know, standing up for humanity, human rights. It's not easy. It's not meant to be easy. They're going to make it as hard as possible. It doesn't matter how peaceful you are. They're going to bring violence to you. You need to be prepared for that. It's either that or we acquiesce. we acquiesce, and then characters like Ted Cruz are checking your kid's genitalia to make sure that they're not a trans, before they go take a tinkle in a public school. And I know it's like, whoa, what the fuck are you talking about? But no, if we don't fight and stand up for what we believe in, we acquiesce to the monsters and tyrants that would have our way with us, have their way with us, have their way with us, have it your way. But no, they would have their way with us, pass all kinds of draconian laws, your civil rights out the window, everything we fought for, all the battles we've won, destroyed. And then on top of that, they'll start going after history. They'll start doing that 1984 shit, redefining the meaning of language of certain words, and of course attempting to rewrite history and destroy, gaslight us into the point where we don't even know what's real and what isn't real. That's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. Have woke climate views? Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, bye. Moving on to the next story here. Israel directly targeting aid workers once again. And I find this kind of interesting, and this is why I think I have the Gallant stuff up here. Oh no, I guess I'm getting that mixed up. But I do find it interesting that the comments from Gallant were saying, hey, we got Bibi make a statement, that we're not taking the Gaza Strip, that we're not going to occupy this. Make a statement right now. So we're seeing, the kind of a split, kind of a disagreement internally about what direction to go in, because I can't understand why you would be continuing to do this, because this is intentional. They're intentionally going after these aid trucks, these UN trucks, to scare away these agencies so that the Gazan people are in a more desperate position. But wait a minute, if you don't actually plan on occupying the Gaza Strip, then why would you be instructing your IDF to do these kind of things? I guess it is possible that the chain of command is broken down, and that, just out of hatred and, xenophobia and propaganda, soldiers are taking it upon themselves to open fire on these vehicles. That's pretty possible as well. What I'm trying to say is that there does seem to be some kind of contention, some kind of disagreement about, okay, what is the actual plan here? Are we creating a starvation incident? Are we trying to create panic to try and, to force Egypt into a position? What are we actually trying to achieve here? Because if your plan is to not take the Gaza Strip, to not occupy the Gaza Strip, then obviously, let the aid agencies in, let them in and do their work. Shoot up commercial Israeli trucks. Yeah, possibly. It is a war. It is a war zone. But yeah, I don't know. It's very possible. I see Hamas opened fire on the people that were building the aid pier. Just to give you an example of how counterproductive Hamas could be. We don't know if it was Hamas. Could literally be anybody. Could, like I've said before, it could literally be anybody in civilian clothes with an AK opening fire for any reason. Right? He's got a fucking problem with the United States for some reason. Who knows? And he gets to be labeled Hamas. You're literally policing your neighborhood so that your local, so that the three marketplaces that still exist in the rubble of your neighborhood can still do business, and you get labeled Hamas because you're carrying a gun. So what's legit? That's legit. What's in the video? Civilians are strictly forbidden to getting shot while they are simply living their lives. Oh yeah, no, there's no evidence of the IDF sniping people in wheelchairs, old people, people just literally just standing around doing nothing, and of course directly shooting incredibly popular Palestinian journalists directly in the head. There's no evidence of that, of course. On to the next article here. U.S. warns Israel has no plan to eliminate Hamas as IDF battles regroup militants in northern Gaza. So Gallant actually hinted at this as well. But, once again, this complete lie that I thought we learned our lesson. I thought everyone wanted to learn a valuable lesson from the United States, that you can't destroy terrorism at the barrel of a gun. We were literally defeated by the Taliban, which is pretty fucking pathetic. Have you seen, did anyone see that? Was it 6 months ago, about a year ago, the Taliban attempting to fly one of the Black Hawk helicopters that we abandoned, that we left behind, and fucking crashing and dying because they don't even know how to fly a helicopter. So yeah, they beat us. They defeated us. The Taliban. So I'm just, you know, even with the sheer brutality that Israel has put upon the Gaza Strip, even though the fact that it's totally blockaded on all sides, that, you know, it's basically an open air prison, they're still incapable of actually defeating Hamas. And of course, the reason is that you don't defeat terrorism at the barrel of a gun. You defeat terrorism by creating a happy and healthy middle class, by actually giving the Palestinians hope so that they don't feel the need to resort to such brutality to, you know, defend who they are and their existence. Hey, Mariz, how about you just cut to the chase? Are Palestinians human beings? Mariz, are Palestinians human beings? Let's go ahead and watch this video here. Fighters are apparently regrouping and attacking positions in northern Gaza.
The militants have regrouped and are now fighting from the rubble. Once the government of Gaza had triggered a war when they stormed into Israel and carried out a massacre, Hamas has become an insurgency. And as the United States learned in Afghanistan and Iraq, insurgencies can last for decades.
One more opportunity I'm going to give you, Mariz. Just one more. Go ahead and answer my question or be flushed. Are Palestinians human beings?
Southern Gaza, Israel is expanding military operations in Rafah, despite warnings from President Biden about the risk to civilians. Israel claims Hamas has 4 battalions of fighters in Rafah and has ordered the evacuation of large sections of the city. The UN says around 300.
So you don't get your point? You don't think that there is a steady and consistent anti-human narrative against the Palestinians, a dehumanization campaign against the Palestinians? Do you deny that is happening? Are you denying the dehumanization that the Palestinians are experiencing at the hands of Israel?
160,000 people have already left. For most, it's not the first time.
That's the 6th time I evacuate from anywhere I was in. So I feel so lost.
This time, Israel is telling Palestinians to go to an area on the Mediterranean coast. But Palestinians say there's nothing for them there. No tents, no food.
Worldwide support for Palestinians, really. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Israel just can't catch a break. Exactly, guys. Yeah, worldwide support, guys. Worldwide support. It's a love fest for the Palestinians.
No future.
Are we gonna keep living in this ongoing loop?
Our crew found these men packing up pieces of their own bombed-out home so they could build shelters with the debris, while Hamas fighters are nowhere to be seen. They brought this war to Gaza, but now provide no services and no help. They've gone underground, ready for a long insurgency, apparently at any cost.
Mariz, do you believe the Palestinians should be allowed to return to the Gaza Strip? Remember, you can ignore the people in the chat. You have to answer my questions. This is my chat. Okay, this is my fucking situation here. So go ahead and ignore them and start paying attention to me. Answer the question. Do you think the Palestinians should be allowed to return to the Gaza Strip? Moving on to the next clip here. People walking out of Jerry Seinfeld. No, they should leave the Gaza Strip. LOL. They are supporting terrorists. So there you go, folks. Right. What dehumanization? Everyone loves them. I think we should kick out every Palestinian from the Gaza Strip. I mean, there you go. Right? No, they should leave the Gaza Strip. Leave? Right. So thank you so much. Enjoy your question. There it is. Oh, we're so humane. What do you mean? Palestinians are human beings. They should just leave. They should just leave, though, because it's ours, and we're going to take it, and we're going to fucking kill anybody that disagrees with us. Bye. So here are students walking out of Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech at Duke because of his unquestioning support of Israel and their ethnic cleansing. So I applaud these students, and I think this should be happening everywhere Jerry Springer or Jerry Seinfeld goes. He's always been a rich prick, but this really does take the cake. Him and his wife, shameless defense of ethnic cleansing. You see, obviously not enough people joining them, and the people that are applauding should be joining. Yeah, money, I agree. Yeah, commencement ceremonies should be, speeches should be done by scientists and doctors and professionals in their field, not polarizing celebrities who are given fake PhDs, which has to be the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Wow, you're rich and famous. Everyone knows you. Here's a PhD. Doctors over here, 8-10 years in school. Oh, yeah, okay. Way to completely diminish my accomplishments. Oh, well, you weren't on TV, though, Dr. Smith. Remember the soup Nazi? Here's a PhD. What's the deal with PhD? Yeah. That's how you do it. Oh, they're getting booed. And once again, we see mostly, it's amazing, right? College educated kids, they don't have the balls. They maybe they don't know where to stand. Maybe, I don't know. Are all the Palestinians terrorists? I don't know. I only watch 5 minutes of news in between, parties and having fun and living my life. I basically ignore politics. And, I don't know where to stand on this. I don't know how to believe. Well, maybe Israel's right in destroying all of them. I don't know. Cowards, ignorant fools. Get your ass up and join the people who are on the right side of history. Or you're acquiescing so much. You're giving so much to the powerful by being so ignorant. So good on them. Keep it up. Moving on to the next clip. Here is IDF tanks and IDF vehicles intentionally blocking ambulances to prevent to make sure more Palestinian people die. Yeah, I know. Isn't that great, Gaius? There's always got to be one. Right? We see a video of people standing up for what they believe in, standing up against a rich asshole who is defending who is happily defending ethnic cleansing. Problems on both sides. Yeah. Gotta be one. Always gotta be one. So here we see, I don't know what the story is here, but it's not a war. This is a genocide. Well, because the canard is that the IDF is fighting some kind of army, fighting some kind of unified force that is on the cusp of an invasion into Israel, some kind of organized military effort. When in reality, it's a bunch of religious extremists that are barely capable of even taking hostages and doing basic negotiations. Not exactly, it feeds into this narrative that that Israel is fighting some kind of big big boogeyman that the moment we turn our back to is they're gonna kill us all kind of situation. The shamelessness of the right, their mask off nature never ceases to be shocking. Spoiler alert, this is Lindsey Graham, a sitting U.S. politician who supports January 6th. Donald Trump, fascism and tyranny in America, fully supports it. This is him saying that we need, that he would be okay with nuking the Gaza Strip, with nuking Palestinians.
Israel need the most massive bombs that can potentially level an entire block in order to wage this war. Why can't it be more precise?
Listen, here's what I would say about fighting an enemy who wants to kill you and your family. Why did we drop 2 bombs, nuclear bombs, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end a war that we couldn't afford to lose? You don't understand, apparently, what Israel is facing. They're facing 3 groups. Iran, who has received $80 billion in aid. When Trump left office, they were exporting 300 barrels of oil a day. Now they're at 1.3 million a day. They've been enriched by Biden. They're taking that money to kill all the Jews. So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after...
It's like what I'm talking about, this annihilation narrative. The moment, and the annihilation narrative is the most important part, really, of the propaganda here, because without the annihilation narrative, none of the barbarity is justified. The dropping bombs on civilians, none of it becomes justified. Only when it's a truly existential fight for existence does any of this extreme violence make any sense at all.
Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose. And
neither was Dresden. We didn't need Hiroshima. We didn't need Nagasaki. We didn't need Dresden either. Just because it happened in the fight against a real existential fight against fascism that was absolutely a danger to freedom across the world. Just because it happened in that context does not make it morally correct, strategically correct, militarily correct. And goddamn, there really is no shame. We're talking about some of the most horrific single incidences in human history, and Lindsey Graham, without an ounce of shame, bringing those events up to justify full-blown ethnic cleansing and an attempted genocide of an entire country. Is it any wonder that he, even though he was insulted by Trump and he's been completely cucked by Trump, that he is at the altar of power, that there is no limit. There is no limit. And God help us all when characters like this get into a position of authoritarian dictatorial power. Okay? Bootlickers to the extreme, the horrors that they would foist upon us. And just to give you an example, something is beeping. Hold on.
Work with them to minimize casualties.
Senator, that military officials would argue that there has been so much technology since those bombs were dropped that for that very reason, that is why Israel and other developed countries can be more precise. But let me ask it this way, because President Biden is not the first president to use arms shipments to try to influence Israeli policy. As you know, former President Ronald Reagan on multiple occasions withheld weapons to impact Israel's military actions. Did President Reagan show that using U.S. military aid as leverage can actually be an effective way to rein in and impact Israel's policy.
When you're telling the world you're going to restrict weapons delivery to the Jewish state who is fighting a three-front war for...
And Jewish state, you know, this conflagration of Zionism and Judaism is in itself extremely anti-Semitic. I can't tell you how many Jewish people I've talked to that find it incredibly insulting to think that the opinions of the extreme Zionist party in Israel represents all of Judaism. And here he gets to just casually make this full-blown anti-Semitic comment without question, without pushback. And here I can't even do my Jewish voice. I'm the victim. Man, victimhood narratives feel good, dude.
For their survival. It emboldens Iran. It emboldens Hamas. Sinwar is probably juiced up on the idea there's daylight between the United States and Israel. The hostage deal is harder.
Okay.
This is the worst.
You get the point. I'm done. I'm sorry. You get the point. Israel shouldn't be recognized as a Jewish state simply because people other than Jews live there. That's a great point. That's a great point. But the lesson here is that characters like Lindsey Graham are happy to throw away our democracy, happy to throw away your freedom, happy to get you and your family mixed up in all kinds of mess. If he has power, if he has money, if he gets to be on TV, that's all that matters. He will throw you away. And the reason why that's important is that he's a man with, he's a politician. He's a man with power. He's not just any, you know, it's one thing to have just some schmuck at the gas station thinking like that. It's another thing when these cynical, monstrous characters get, you know, put themselves into positions of power and then they start using it. All right. Yeah, so this is a really good article. I don't have time to get into it this time. Well, I mean, I highlighted a bunch of stuff. How much time do I got left? I got about a half hour. I got it. Man, so many clips for Gaza, Israel. So much relevant stuff. I don't even have time to cover even remotely all of it. I will get back to this one. This is an article, I believe, from Woke Patriot. Thank you, Woke Patriot, for posting this, because there is a lot of confusion about what Biden's Israel weapons policy is. The long and short of it is, yeah, there's been a pause on one shipment, but the previous weapons agreements and contracts and the, you know, we'll never stop defending Israel stuff that's been, you know, part of our part of the military-industrial complex's day-to-day life is continuing to rumble forward. You know, Joe Biden doesn't have the ability to just hit the pause button and then all weapons stop to Israel. I mean, he probably does, but, you know, he's pretending like, you know, all the bureaucracy's in my way. So he's kind of getting the best of both worlds, where he continues to benefit from being an Israeli shill and defender, while he also gets the, you know, some positive press about, you know, acknowledging. For the first time, he did acknowledge that civilians have been killed. So, you know, so he acknowledges the death of civilians while also pausing a single weapon shipment. So we'll dig into this in a little bit more detail later. Yeah, exactly. Woke Patriot. This is another one, I believe, from Woke Patriot. Thank you again for this link. I've seen this fella a few times. I don't recall his official position, but he's an absolute embarrassment. And really, every clip I've seen of this guy, it's just he makes it pretty clear that the United States empire is wildly hypocritical and really not concerned with human rights, not concerned with Palestinian statehood. That really, the once again, like I said before, the only issue the world and the United States has with what Israel is doing in the Gaza Strip is the speed at which it's happening. As long as the theft is gradual and piece by piece and complicated, and there's this nice little, you know, plausible deniability, and it's all happening, you know, bit by bit by bit. Okay, that's fine. Oh, that's messy. Oh, yeah, it's illegal, those settlements. Oh, that's such a problem. Okay, anyway, moving on. Who's doing the Olympics this year? That's the only problem that Joe Biden has he doesn't give a fucking rip about Palestinian people. He only cares about Palestinian humanity in so much as that how it affects his power, his elections, his legacy. But this 45-second clip says it all. This is where the United States actually stands on Palestinian statehood, Palestinian humanity.
But the current hostilities are rooted, in a catastrophe that has been going on for 76 years. It's not something that just happened.
Respectfully cited, the current hostilities are rooted in Hamas unleashing a terrorist attack on Israel on October 7th, rooted in their vision of ensuring that Israel is eliminated from the face of the planet.
It's not rooted in what happened in 1948.
Hamas has been very clear about what their intentions are.
I'm not talking about Hamas. I'm talking about that this issue has gone on for 76 years. I just want you to acknowledge that. The issue has been going on for 76 years, and not just, it did not begin on October 7th.
We've exhausted this topic, Said.
We've exhausted this topic. United States refuses to acknowledge that history did not begin before October. History began on October 7th. That there wasn't 70 plus years of brutal occupation and of various kinds of aggression of various kinds. Oh, occupy, you know what I mean? We've exhausted this topic. Can you just acknowledge that history didn't begin on October 7th? Oh no, that's anti-Semitic now.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
Hamas has been very clear about what their intentions are.
I'm not talking about Hamas. I'm talking about that this issue has gone on for 76 years. I just want you to acknowledge that. The issue has been going on for 76 years, and not just, it did not begin on October 7th.
We've exhausted this topic, Said.
There it is. There it is. If you think Joe Biden gives a rip about Palestinians, boy, look into the man's legacy. He's only been in front of a camera since Johnny Carson era. He's only been in front of a camera his entire adult life as a politician. To give you any idea of what he thinks about Palestinians. So this is definitely an interesting wrinkle. I should show at least a piece of this. Absolutely. But what's happening, apparently, there's actually some pretty unprecedented things that are happening right now with Egypt and Israel because of what they see is like, okay, they're making a real decision here, and there's really a good chance that Israel is going to try to dump this whole problem onto us one way or another. And it is legitimately affecting diplomatic ties. And stuff like this, you can't just snap a finger and then reverse this kind of stuff. These are definitely things that will be affecting Middle East politics for the next 5 to 10 years at least.
Israel's offensive in Rafah has put relations with its neighbour Egypt under severe strain. Egypt has for decades cooperated on security arrangements along its border with Gaza, but Cairo suspended that cooperation when Israeli troops took over the Gazan side of the Rafah border crossing. The move could have far-reaching implications for both countries and for the people of Gaza.
Israeli soldiers in Rafah, the biggest crossing for aid coming into Gaza, now shut off. Israel has opened other crossings further north, but this one has special significance. The other side of the Rafah crossing is Egypt. The country shares a 206-kilometer-long border with Israel, but it's the 12 kilometers where Egypt borders Gaza that are now in dispute. For decades, Israel has relied on Egypt to help implement security arrangements in Gaza, as well as for delivery of food and other necessities. That cooperation all dates back to the Camp David Accords, which came after years of conflict, including 3 wars.
Seemingly,
signing the accord.
Seemingly that's what's happening, Lenny. But then we have Gallant with his statements, and I think that's we're going to get to Gallant's statements next here. I'm going to find them in my list here of things, but because we got to talk about it. But Gallant making that statement very, very clear shows us that there is a rift happening right now, it might be a 3-way rift.
It was a major strategic step, changing the dynamics in the region. Egypt's substantial military was no longer a threat. It also resulted in a shift in U.S. policy. Egypt became a major recipient of American foreign aid. But Israel's cooperation with its closest partner in the Middle East is over for now. Egypt says the IDF takeover of the Gaza side of the Rafah crossing violates treaties that say the zone should be demilitarized. In addition, Egypt has now announced it will join South Africa's case against Israel for genocide at the International Court of Justice, adding to Israel's international isolation. U.S. media have also reported that Egypt may downgrade its diplomatic ties with Israel. However, Egypt cannot afford to alienate the U.S. It's also worried about a possible Palestinian exodus into Egypt itself. So there are reasons to resume cooperation with Israel at some point in the future.
So there you go. Just to recap, unfortunately, I do not have time for this. I'm sure she's totally brilliant and eloquent. Unfortunately, I do not have time to listen to her brilliance and her eloquence, but you're welcome to. There's the full clip right there. But like I said, I wanted to talk about this Gallant situation here. So Gallant, quote, "I call on Netanyahu to declare Israel won't establish civilian control over Gaza." We got a clip here, show you.
בנימין נתניהו, לקבל החלטה ולהכריז. אני קורא לראש הממשלה, בנימין
I call on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu,
לקבל החלטה
make a decision and declare that Israel
כי ישראל לא תשלוט אזרחית.
will not have a civilian rule over the Gaza Strip. That's huge. Welcome back, Ribbon.
ברצועת עזה. כי לא יתקיים ממשל צבאי ישראלי.
There will be no Israeli military administration. Wow.
ברצועת עזה, ותקודם מיידית אלטרנטיבה שלטונית לחמאס.
So then a governing alternative to Hamas will be promoted, a technocratic government. Here's the problem, though, is that Bibi Netanyahu is intentionally undermining the PLO's, the Palestinian Authority's request to be this technocratic government, right? To bring in the government of the West Bank back into the Gaza Strip, even though it's unpopular. People would prefer, you know, if there's some kind of stability, if they're allowed to return and construction starts, and you know they'll put up with the Palestinian Authority being their technical government. But that's pretty huge, you know. The problem is that the moment Bibi starts talking about that is the moment Bibi's political career, there's a timer, you know, pops up above his head, counting down to the end of his career. So yeah, so here's Bibi here. I'm not willing to exchange Hamas stand for Fatah stand. I mean, can we just talk about the inherent racism, I guess, in this statement? I guess there's some xenophobia right there, but it's also, you know, here he is just, you know, taking off the most viable. This is classic Bibi. This is exactly how he works, especially during the two-state solution negotiations. But taking the most viable solution, the solution that everyone wants to talk about, immediately taking that off the table, and then leaving it kind of nebulous and open about what he actually wants. And you know, he's happy to take it off the table, but he's got nothing to replace it with. But he still wants to pretend like this is some kind of negotiation. Classic stuff. So Palestinian Authority totally off the table. We're not going to mess with them. Okay, what's the alternative? Well, I don't know. Right? Because the mystery, perpetuating the mystery, helps his politics. It's crazy, but like I said, the moment people think, okay, this is over, we've defeated Hamas in some way, you know, we've accomplished our goals. That's the end of Bibi's political career, apparently, according to a lot of people. I don't know. This guy's sticky like glue. I don't think getting rid of him is going to be that easy, but his attempted reforms have failed, and he's still vulnerable, you know, to the political whims of the people and the Knesset there. But what I'm worried about is Ben-Gvir, somehow this a power vacuum is created, and then we got a character like Ben-Gvir who's now in charge, right? It's hard to fathom, but it is possible to get a character even worse than Bibi Netanyahu, and it's like, no, you're kidding me. It doesn't. No, you're kidding me. Oh no. Would you believe Bibi Netanyahu is holding the demons at the gate? The real ghouls, the Ben-Gvirs who want to kill them all. I don't care about my relationship with Uncle Sam. Go, kill. If Ben-Gvir was in charge, Israel would already be rebuilding parts of the Gaza Strip for Israel. No, this is already that would have already started. So it's hard to believe, but things can actually get worse.
אחרי הטבח הנורא של 7 באוקטובר, הנחיתי להשמיד את החמאס. לוחמי צה"ל וזרועות הביטחון נלחמים על כך. כל עוד החמאס נשאר על כנו, אף גורם אחר לא ייכנס לנהל את עזה האזרחית.
So what he literally just said is the war will never, ever end. Because he said only until Hamas is completely dismantled and destroyed will I talk about, moving on from this. Which it's exactly what happened with George Bush, by the way. The war on terror. So perpetual war, a never-ending war. That's exactly what he just promised there. One more time. Let's see if can I do this? Can I? No. Okay, never mind.
בוודאי שלא, הרשות הפלסטינית.
Yeah. Heaven forbid I have the ability to fucking move the video around. Can't have that. So I think, so it's just these two articles about the Gallant fella here. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to choose who to replace Hamas to rule Gaza, even if it costs him politically. Didn't really say that. With the new entity to run Gaza, Gallant said there are only two choices, Hamas rule or Israel rule, and that delaying the decision makes it more likely that Hamas will return. So he's trying to say, by leaving this nebulous for the benefit of your own politics, you're actually leaving open a vacuum for Hamas to fill. The defense minister stated that he has brought up the issue of replacing Hamas repeatedly. He warned, quote, there's a dangerous trend supporting Israel rule over Gaza. Yeah, Ben-Gvir literally showed up to let's take over Gaza fest, did a big speech. Do I got the video in here? Where's the video? I got this amazing video I need to show you. Where's the video? I do not have it up. Are you serious? How come I do not have this video up? Hold on. Hold up. How do I not have this video queued up? I put it in there pretty early. There it is. This one right here.
You've probably...
So the thumbnail is really something else. I wish I could. I wish there was a way for me to actually show you this thumbnail. I forgot how to do that. See here, textbooks. I'm just seeing if I can give you an example of this Ben-Gvir fella. That's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. It's in this video somewhere. It's only 4 minutes long. How much time do I got? Okay, I got time to show you this. Yeah, okay. This will be my second to last video of the day. But the reason why I'm showing it, I know it's very confusing. I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but no, the reason why I'm showing you this is just to give you an example of that it can get much worse. That this Ben-Gvir character, that the extremists that Bibi Netanyahu has to work very closely with are actually just a hair's away from being in control, in the driver's seat here. And it really is, all bets are off once characters like this get in charge.
You've probably asked
This video is called How Israelis Are Brainwashed.
You've probably asked yourself, how does someone react to genocide? Like this.
Your babies here.
The answer is they've been conditioned to, and it starts in their education system. Here are 3 examples of how Israel teaches the dehumanization of Palestinians. According to this Israeli professor's research, Israeli textbooks show Palestinians, or Arabs as they're called, as caricatures of primitive farmers, hordes of refugees, or they're masked and painted as terrorists.
You cannot find one photograph of a human being who is a Palestinian.
And it might explain how you end up with videos like this.
We need to kill Arabs.
The way they are represented are as the problems and threats. And since they never or hardly ever meet Palestinians face to face or speak to them, although they may live 50 to 100 meters from them, this is what they know.
If you type map of Israel in Hebrew into Google, this is what you'll get.
Thanks,
Notice
Google.
how a lot of these maps have no clear markings showing the...
Isn't it cute how Google just goes right along with whatever country's, you know, empiric desires? Wouldn't it be nice if Google decided to stand against misinformation and disinformation and didn't allow governments to manipulate its people? How would we make money in that market? That person would just, you know, they would just ban us from that market. Then we wouldn't make any money. I just think it's cute because there's lots of examples of Google doing this stuff. Censoring stuff for China all day, baby. Oh, please let us into your market, please.
The occupied West Bank,
I'll
East
censor
Jerusalem,
everything.
and the Gaza Strip.
Tiananmen what?
All of which are internationally
Tiananmen
recognized as
Circle.
illegally occupied Palestinian territories.
Yeah.
You'll also find
Do
this
evil
map in
sometimes.
Israeli textbooks. It's how you end up with illegal settlers.
Look at that fucking map, dude. That's what they're teaching kids in school in Israel. Is it any wonder where they're like, yeah, it's ours? What are you talking about? That's what they taught us. That's the map. See something missing?
Colonizing more and more Palestinian land, claiming it's their God-given right.
This, all this, what you see, it's belong to Israel.
And it's how you end up with scenes like this.
You have this necklace?
That's Palestine, yeah.
This is Israel. Students in Israel are taught about the Holocaust starting in nursery school all the way to the 12th grade. Part of that learning is looking at horrifying images, or exercises that encourage students to put themselves in the shoes of the victims and relate to the experience. The identification of students with the victims isn't a coincidence. It's an intentional policy by the Israeli Ministry of Education. It's how you end up with a society where, according to one Israeli professor, every Jewish Israeli citizen is a Holocaust survivor or a potential victim of future Holocaust-like events.
The goal is traumatization and revenge, and not to let the fire of vengeance die out. However, this vengeance is not directed toward...
So it's like I was saying, you know, the annihilation narrative, the victimhood narrative, these are linchpins for the justification of everything that we've seen. And that's why we see such strong and vociferous resistance to any kind of truth-telling about these fake narratives. Because the moment these narratives crumble, then all you have left are the crimes. The obvious colonization, settler colonization, the obvious apartheid state, that's all you have left. If you're not under that, in that existential fight for existence, none of it is justified, and then the crimes are all that remain. So that's, you know, oftentimes, because you see a lot of defenders of Israel get really, really defensive about the annihilation or victimhood narrative. And that's the big reason why. That's the foundation that this entire wobbly setup is put upon. You know, and that's why we can't have two-state solution, why we can't treat Palestinians like human beings. It all stems to that.
The German persecutors and their collaborators.
They want it all. They've wanted it all since the beginning.
Colonized subject who are Nazified.
We showed this video.
The fact that Palestinians had nothing to do with the Holocaust and that they are the ones currently being exterminated seems to be irrelevant. With this weaponization of the Holocaust, Zionism isn't seen for the settler colonial racist ideology that it is, but as the savior of the Jewish people.
That's right.
And it's this thinking and this fear that is weaponized to justify the violence of the Zionist state. That it must exist and do whatever is necessary to defend itself so that another Holocaust would never happen again.
That's how you end up with videos like this.
It is a terrorist organization which murders Jews because they're Jews.
Once the Jewish people were defenseless, no longer.
So why does this matter? Israelis spent 12 years in this education system, teaching them to dehumanize Palestinians and see them as people looking to eliminate Jews, not an oppressed, colonized people looking for freedom. And once they graduate, most Jewish Israelis will go straight to the military to do their 2 to 3 years of mandatory service, where they become the front lines of apartheid and occupation. That's how we end up with videos like this.
Who is going to live in tents? Gaza. Air Force bombed the buildings down.
So why do all this? Well, Israel can only exist as a Jewish state if it manages demographics to maintain a Jewish majority. And it does so by displacing, imprisoning, and murdering Palestinians routinely. And the only way to get Jews to participate in this is by convincing them that it's the only way for them to exist safely. Seeing Palestinians as people who want to live in peace and be free doesn't fit into that plan.
That's right.
Subscribe for more and support us on Patreon.
No, not a single lie in that video. Not a single lie. And I really like how the video uses, examples from, Israeli textbooks, showing not this. Well, this is like official government documentation of the framework of their education system. But no, when they show, clips from the books themselves that children are reading, the work, the little pieces of homework, little work group, what do they call? Homework. God damn. Oh, there it is. Yeah, this stuff, the textbooks, right? So we see examples right here from Israeli textbooks. Not too many examples. I would have liked a few more, but it's only a 4-minute video, 5-minute video. And there's been a generation of Gazas educated by Hamas. I mean, yeah, no, I mean that's where things get muddy. Is that where Hamas has any control, where when they do try to teach, they'll horrible, they put it right in their charter, we exist for the destruction of Israel, that kind of shit. And it goes back to what I'm saying. It's counterproductive, and it's really tough. It puts the left in a really tough position where we need enough time to explain that Palestinians are human beings, that they're put in a tight situation, that they themselves are being held captive by Hamas in a certain way. And we gotta fit all that context and nuance into a 15-second reply, while some smarmy Israeli person just goes, "But Hamas, oh, but Hamas, but Hamas." Right, and the left here has to explain, well, it's a rather complicated situation. When you put an entire society into a corner, you're going to have elements of that society that's going to lash out in barbaric and horrific ways. You don't have full control over that. Oh, but Hamas. If they wanted to stop the bombings, they would tell Hamas to go bye-bye, because that's how it works, right? Right? We could, when Trump was in charge for that 4 years, we didn't like it. We could just tell him to go away, right? That's how that works. All right, but that's all the time I have today. So many other videos. Actually, I do have one last video that I wanted to show you. This absolutely hilarious comedy bit here. It's a little slow at first, but trust me, it's got one hell of a payoff. You're gonna love this. I wanted to end on a nice note, on a funny note, so I thought I would show this. This one, pertains to COVID, so not much to do with Israel. But I hope you enjoy this, because I thought this was actually really funny, and I didn't think of this either. But he's totally right, and you'll see what I mean in a second.
The weirdest things to me about 2020 in general was, you know how there's bunker people? There are people that save up a bunch of money to build a bunker in different types. Some people build a bunker underground. Some people have a different location they're going to go to if things hit the fan and everything. Some people have like a whole site that they've built and stuff. And we've always, for years, for decades, made fun of them, right? It's something that started in the Cold War because they were so sure that the Russians were going to bomb us that they started to make bunkers, and it was a normal thing. Then, as those sort of fears started to disappear a little bit, it became less common. But then there were some people who were still like, guys, something's wrong. Some bad things could happen. So they made bunkers, but then they started making it with, you know, their personal wealth and everything. And we made fun of them all the time, you know? And then 2020 hits, global pandemic that affects everyone in every country. And almost all the bunker people were like, that shit ain't real.
Shit ain't real, man.
But you built in case the whole world. Can I go in the bunker?
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Funny stuff. I thought that was really funny. Such a good point. All the bunker people. Oh, it's fake news. Fake news. We actually get the apocalyptic pandemic. And they're all like, that's not real. Didn't happen. All right, there you go. You know, try to end on something a little bit funnier than Gaza. Because it's you know, it's gonna, I wish we had like a time machine or something, because I wish we could see where the goalpost ends up when this disgusting episode is finally over, when Israel has finally taken the last vestiges of the West Bank and taken the Gaza Strip. However that machinates, is that a word? Machinates? But you know what I mean? Oh, I think he's one of the new comedians on Daily Show. Oh, that's cool. I like Jon Stewart right back at the Daily Show, man. It's like he never left. Isn't that great? I love it. I got a lot of disagreements with Jon Stewart, but at the same time, he's definitely instead of like Stephen Colbert, where he's gotten weaker and he's gotten less edgy and he's gotten less relevant. Jon Stewart, became more relevant. Became more edgy. Became more of a progressive fighter. When he stepped away from the cameras, and it is interesting to see him water down his message a little bit for the Daily Show. That is kind of interesting, where he's obviously very intentionally trying to do both sides, not exactly both sides, but he's trying to say, hey, there's some criticisms against Joe Biden that are legitimate, and obviously the criticisms against the fascist right wing is, obviously. Hey, Davey, no problem. Good night. Thanks for that stream. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for all those wonderful links in the Discord. Folks, if you want to see some really hardcore ass links, Davey is never shy to post them. We got those in the Discord. Thanks again, Davey. But yeah, it's always tough. It's always tough to talk about Gaza, Israel. I have so much other news I want to talk about, but it's back to what I was saying before. I wish we had a crystal ball so we could see where this narrative finally ends once Israel has actually completed this project, because it's going to be we didn't have any choice, there was no other way to prevent it, it's going to be a lot of excuses as to why it had to happen, basically. And I can tell you right now, unequivocally, with total confidence, that this does not have to happen this way. That there is absolutely a future where Palestine and Israel don't try to kill each other. It can coexist. And I can say once again with confidence and clarity that there is one side that is the clear aggressor, and it's not Hamas, it's Israel. There's one side that's the clear bad actor here. Even with the Palestinian Authority's corruption and their inefficiencies and all the things that they've said that I disagree with, there's a clear aggressor here. There's a clear bad actor here. There's an X factor here. And that X factor is Israel, regardless of the government, Israel's steadfast refusal to acknowledge the existence of Palestine, full stop. From the very beginning. You know, this Zionist idea that the Palestinians were just keeping our seat warm for the return of the Jews. Putin admits there's no chance he can take Kharkiv. Yeah, so we'll be covering Ukraine tomorrow. Red text is evil. We'll be covering Ukraine tomorrow. But don't let what I was getting at before is like, don't let the gaslighters get to you. Don't let the gaslighters try to tell you, try to convince you that this is the both sides, that this is somehow the fault of the Palestinians. There's a clear aggressor here. There's an X factor. There's a clear bad actor. Christopher Hitchens famously saying, "How come Israel hasn't defined its national borders?" Really says a lot. Don't let the bastards drag you down. But big props to your boy Woke Patriot. Thank you again. Sorry for my harsh language in the Discord. That was uncalled for. Big props to Zio Duke, true OG of the chat, true OG of the stream. Thank you, Zio Duke. Big props to Clutch Cargo. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to Clutch Cargo. And while you're taking the time to like and subscribe to Clutch Cargo, make sure you do the same to your boy Lenny. There it is. Lenny. #1 financial contributor to the stream, host of Accidents Waiting to Happen on Twitch, an absolutely phenomenal stream. Keep watching the skies. God, I hope. One of these days, man, I just want that money shot. Just give me one. Just one. Up close, personal. Show me that thing floating. If only I was the leading financial contributor, though. If only, Zio Duke. Would you like a garbage fuel beach towel or a garbage fuel mouse pad? Please head on over to the merch store. Pick yourself up one immediately. Exactly $1 of profit will be given to your boy, Abandoned Nihilism. Big props to Ribbons. Big props to Davey. Once again, Davey, thanks again for those links. Big props to Ponder Monkey, wonderful streamer himself. Make sure you check out Ponder Monkey, folks. Like and subscribe. Gaius Flavius Josephus. Thank you so much. Lovely comments. Davin, looks like we butted heads there, and I don't know if you ever came back, Davin. Sorry to piss you off, but I don't really appreciate, look, I get it. I call people names all the time. Leave the name calling to me. Okay, let's try to keep it civil in the chat. Hopefully I didn't offend you too much, Davin there. Sorry you had to go in a huff. Kissing Gonzo, big props to you. Yeah, Davin, I hope to see you again. I really do enjoy your comments, so hopefully you didn't leave forever. Kissing Gonzo, wonderful. Big props to you. Yeah, if you can convince a million idiots. If you can convince a million people to give you $1, right, you're a millionaire. Boy, that weave person, that was a really interesting one. Midnight Null Night, you seemed pretty cool. Sorry you had to leave. Pucker War, big props to you, Pucker War. Thank you for coming in, Pucker War. Soviet Mind, once again, Soviet Mind. Wonderful. You only had one comment, but you keep coming back. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Soviet Mind. All right, everybody. Creating political change is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And I know you're interested in creating political change because you're here in the politics section. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, put your name down. Maybe it's a progressive activist organization you want to work with. Maybe it's a politician you like. Maybe it's a union that needs your help. Whatever the fuck it is, you got to put your fucking name down. And then step 3, put in the work like Charlie Kirk, baby. Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon and the rest of the fucking fascists are putting in the work every single day, working those late nights on a Saturday night, trying to dismantle our democracy, trying to destroy our liberty. Big props to your boy Kem Goblin Cookin. Swoop! But as Clutch Cargo likes to say, it's the only thing that's ever worked, a.k.a. political activism, a.k.a. non-violent direct political action, getting your ass in the streets. Like your girl Greta Thunberg, my close personal friend and hero. We call and text all the time, me and Greta. I'm the king of Antifa. I just wish they would listen to their king and stop with the property damage. Because it's counterproductive. I'm sorry. Look, I know you like throwing a rock through the McDonald's window. Everyone loves throwing the rocks through the McDonald's window. Yeah, Greta's a moron, huh? Yeah, okay, buddy. Enjoy the flush. My close personal friend and hero, Greta Thunberg, is a fucking badass and true G. It took one text for her to take down Andrew fucking Taint. One fucking text. Bye-bye, Andrew Taint. I am the king of Antifa, and I declare no more property damage. Anytime you want to throw a rock at the McDonald's window, hug your grandmother. Yeah, exactly, Woke Patriot. She's a hero. She's an inspiration, Greta Thunberg. She's exactly what we need to be emulating right now. I've never heard a statement from her that wasn't totally 100% on point. I'm sure she made a couple stupid statements. I'm sure of it. Put a camera in front of my face at that age, boy. I don't know that guy. But somehow she finds a way to be plugged in, on point, and God damn it, totally correct 99% of the time. Greta Thunberg, baby! She's, of course, my close personal friend, of course. We talk and hang out all the time. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East and glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Props to my hero, Greta Thunberg. Star Trek, what are we talking about? Star Trek! Fuck Antifa, fuck you. Fuck anti-fascism, huh, Davey? Boy, that says everything about you, doesn't it, buddy? The one conservative I allow to stay in my chat has a problem with anti-fascism. Pretty fucking cute, Davey. Get in that ghetto in saying fucking bastards, niggas, walk up in the club, high as hell, because we full of drugs. What game you claim, the way you wear the hats, don't get too close, be careful, we be strapped, we put it on the map, nigga, we keep my cheese and facts, nigga, and if you see me in the hood, you better give me that, nigga, I'm known as a veteran, my bitches should be stacked, from Smokey Hill to Hollywood, right over there. All right, okay. Okay. Trying to end the fucking stream. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree though about Antifa. You know, it's the problem with Antifa is that it's not a real organization. It's just a smattering group of anarchists and other young leftists who are resorting to reactionary violence. With that said, outside of the property damage, I basically agree with the sentiment that we need bodies in between us and the Boogaloo Boys and the Proud Boys and the right-wing fascists who absolutely do show up to left-wing protests armed, ready to intimidate. They absolutely do that. And if it wasn't for Antifa, left-wing protests across the nation would be left to be victimized by armed right-wing extremists. So yeah, I don't necessarily agree with Zio Duke, but at the same time, you know, when you're in the thick of it, when you're in those protests, when you're on the front lines, you're happy that there's somebody there who's going to swing back at the fascists that are trying to destroy our democracy and liberty. But like I said before, the property damage is counterproductive. Okay, property damage is just, it doesn't work because it allows characters like Davey over here to feel some justification in saying fuck Antifa. I mean, Davey, would you have as many problems with Antifa as you do if it wasn't for the property damage? Right? So likely not. Yeah. So that's where I'm getting at. But it's impossible. The reason why I call myself king of Antifa is because it's not a real political organization. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's a smattering group of, very young leftists who are, very excited to throw a brick through McDonald's window because they're making a statement against capitalism and yada, yada, yada. I'm the king of Antifa because anybody can be the king of Antifa. So it's not exactly an organization you can order around. So when someone says, fuck Antifa, it's a little silly to me. It's a little silly to me, as if this is an organization making decisions. And not a loose grouping of, like-minded anarchists and other, far leftists that are interested in knocking some fascist heads. A lot of Antifa guys, they just want to crack a fascist right in the head. That's why they're there. And the fascists are often giving them opportunities to do so. Because like I said, they intentionally show up to large left-wing protests, armed to the teeth, trying to Kyle Rittenhouse the situation, right? Get themselves in a situation where they get to use their toy. Yeah. But it's fine. I won't put words in Davey's mouth. He doesn't support anti-fascist behavior. He just doesn't support the caricature. I don't know why I'm doing this. The caricature of Antifa, of extreme leftists that rob and steal and are more fascist than the fascists, which is absurd. It's honestly absurd. Okay. Some property damage and showing up to protests and trading blows with fascists doesn't make you more fascist than the fascist. Yeah, there's some social media presence. Yeah, but any fucking the group of apathetic and agnostics have a fucking Facebook page, have a fucking Twitter presence. It's not that difficult. It doesn't really mean you're a fully functioning operation with even a single manifesto, right? I mean, can you even say, Davey, with confidence that the Antifa has a strict code of conduct, a strict list of beliefs? Any schmuck at any time can put on a black bandana and call themselves Antifa. Okay? We all know that fascism is when you punch people. Obviously. All right. Okay. Hopefully, are we all good now? Fucking Davey. Fucking Davey, man. Tell you. Fuck Antifa. You got to go to more protests, Davey. You got to go to more protests. You really do. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Hope you have a good day. Take care of yourself. Join Antifa, the well-funded organization. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I like you, Davey, but your insistence on being wrong is fascinating. All right, everybody. I'm not saying never. I'm not saying never. I'm crazy. I'm fucking loco. I'll ban the whole chat. I lost my damn mind. All right, have a good night, everybody. Props to you young leftists. Greta Thunberg, props to you young leftists.